Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Girlfriend Simulator. I just remember that I forgot to introduce myself in Bad Parenting, but that's okay because whatever. I'm Two-Faced Teller, but you can call me V. And this is Girlfriend Simulator. I already said that. I think. Wow, short-term memory loss. Content warning, this VN touches on subjects some readers might find upsetting, such as depression, brief mentions of attempted suicide, asphyxiation, violence, and some bloody imagery. It also contains scenes with animated static and flickering lights. Reader discretion is advised. You wake up with a pounding headache in a room that looks like your own, but doesn't feel quite right. By your bedside is a cute girl who introduces herself as Nagi, your adorable, doting girlfriend. Nagi informs you that you're very sick, but don't worry, she's gonna do her very best to take care of you. That'd be all well and good, but if Nagi really is your girlfriend, why can't you remember her? This should be about 40 to 90 minutes. There is multiple endings, but it does not specify how many specifically. And that is it. That's all I need to know. Fall asleep. Go nine-nine. The pain when it hits me is intense. It comes on so suddenly and I feel like I'm gonna be sick. It hurts more than I thought it would. It hurts more than I can endure. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. But then a miracle happens. My vision turns white. My lungs spasm in one last desperate gasp, and then there's nothing. I'm finally free. I thought it would be scary, which is why I trembled so much, but I think I'm getting used to it now. It's not that bad, really, not existing. There are worse things you can do than disappear. Moo? Hey, Ayumu? Can you hear me? Please tell me you can hear me. Wake up, you have to wake up, don't do this to me. Ayumu? Sounds like somebody's calling out to me. I can hear a voice, high and anxious, cleaving through my comfortable, cozy state of non-existence. My head is starting to hurt again. Did she, hit us in the back of the head and we lost our memories? Is that where our memories are stored? The back of the head? I can't remember. See? What's going on? I open my eyes slowly, groggily, and glance upwards. Is that a lawnmower? Where are we? In the garage? There's somebody standing by my bedside, somebody I don't know. She has long, fair hair tied into a ponytail, and she's wearing clothes which I suppose are fairly fashionable. As far as appearances go, she's quite cute, and it doesn't hurt that her face is so sweet either. Her eyes are very wide, her iris is indigo, and her nose is small and snub. Her lips are pale pink like cherry blossoms, and they're parted in what I suppose is concern. You're going a little too detailed there, buddy, for somebody who just woke up. My ass would have woke up, been confused as unease 0%. And then I would have been like, oh, she's pretty, and then that's it. I would move on to the next bit. Where am I? What's going on? I'm kind of hungry. I'm also a little thirsty. Can I have some water? Her lips are pale pink like cherry blossoms, and they're parted in what I suppose is concern. Her skin is white like milk, or like snow, and her fingers are slender. She's slender in general, really, so much so it looks like a gust of wind could blow her away. She's so pristine in her ruffled blouse and her high-waisted skirt she hardly looks human. Her facial features are all too perfectly arranged. I can't see a single blemish on her skin. She's like a mannequin. Or a porcelain doll. Or an android. She's almost too pretty. What is a girl like this doing in my apartment? Me. Ugly as fuck. I feel dazed, and the girl's breathy exclamation of relief when I open my eyes does little to reassure me this isn't a dream. Oh, thank goodness. I'm so glad you're finally awake. You were out for hours, Ayumu. I was so worried. Man, my head hurts so much. I touched the back of my head. It's bloody. Huh. I don't know her name, but she seems to know mine. Are we friends, then? We must be more than acquaintances given the familiar way she's talking to me and the fact that she's in my house. I don't remember having any friends like her, though. I don't make friends with pretty people. 'Cause I'm too ugly and suspicious looking. I don't remember having any friends at all, actually. Oh, sad. Wasn't that why I... +5 on ease! No. I better not think about that. My head's starting to hurt again. Sorry, but this is kind of a lot. What's going on? Oh, you poor thing. You really must be sick if you have to ask that. I'm sick? I mean, my head hurts a lot and I could really do with some painkillers, but I don't feel anything else. You are, yes. You're very, very sick. Your temperature was almost 38 degrees when I last checked. You're passed out when I came here, and that was, I'd say it was about 2 hours ago. I've kept myself busy since then cleaning this place up, but I was very worried about you. I'm glad that you decided to call me this morning. I'd hate to think of you suffering on your own. You were so hot, I was thinking I might have to call the hospital. The hospital? I blinked, trying to disperse the white, hazy spots which are flickering in front of my vision. I definitely got bashed in the head. My apartment is shifting, and so is this girl's concerned face. It feels a bit like my reality is being filtered through an old VCR player, which definitely is. Everything keeps juddering. Am I really that sick? You look pretty sick, yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's just because I'm ugly. I just look like this. Well, you haven't actually been sick, thank goodness. That's a relief. It seems like your fever might be breaking now, though. You sound pretty lucid for the most part. Maybe I should test you, though. How many fingers am I holding up? 1. Just the 1? You've been holding it up a lot, actually. That's right, and now? 1. Good, good. I'm glad there's no problems with your vision, at least. Now, what's your favorite food? Spaghetti. Pork cutlet, I think. And your favorite book? That's, it's a light novel series, actually, but I love Elf Forest by Tsuchimi Rui? Question mark? I'll be honest. I went to, like, a secondhand store recently, and I went into the book section because I was like, I want to get something. My sister's here for yarn, and I want something. But the moment I went in there and started looking at stuff, I was just like, I don't feel so good. And I think I'm allergic to books. I don't know, it's been a while since I've read an actual book. I just read on my phone. Right, and your birthday? That's October 6th, I think. Very good, and my birthday? That is... Who are you again? Wow, look at the eyeball on the side. I just noticed. It's like blueberries. Who has blue eyes? Crap, I don't know the answer to this. Not that this should come as too much of a surprise. How am I supposed to know this girl's birthday when I don't even know her name? I pondered this for a few moments, my expression contorting. The girl must see my obvious distress because eventually she takes pity on me. Silly Ayumu, you've always been so bad with birthdays. I mean, that's true. It's true, but I don't know who you are. My birthday's only a few days before yours, on October 1st. Don't forget it, alright? Maybe you ought to make a note of it. It might come in handy later. When exactly? You know what? After the foreshadowing from before, I will take this... I will write October 1st on a piece of paper. When you want to buy me a birthday present, duh, for being such a great girlfriend. The girl giggles. And what about my name? Don't tell me you've forgotten that too. Shifty eyes. You are... You... My love, my lady, my darling, my chérie, baby, sweet cheeks. It's here that I began to struggle. I thought I might recognize this girl the more time passed, but we've been talking for a few minutes and that still hasn't happened. I can't recall her name for the life of me. It isn't even on the tip of my tongue. The girl frowns. Well, that's no good. I thought you were on the mend, but maybe I was jumping the gun. I mean, geez. Imagine forgetting your own girlfriend. I think this means I should go to the hospital, right? Right. I gotta see a doctor. Because that's concerning. Huh? Now that's a surprise if I've ever heard one. You're my girlfriend? That's a lie, and you're making fun of me. That's right, I'm Nagi, and we've been together for a month already. That is a very short time. We were talking to each other for longer than that, though, of course. We've only been going out for a little bit, but I thought you'd recall at least that much. I thought I was special to you, Ayumu. Yo, do you really gotta be this dramatic right now? I am having issues. Why are you making it about yourself? Oh, great. Now she's pouting at me, and it's quite effective, actually. Weak. What should I do? Reassure her. Tell her you don't remember her. First choice. I don't remember you. I'm sorry, but even if you are my girlfriend, I don't remember you at all, because I would not have a girlfriend who's pretty. In fact, I wouldn't have a girlfriend at all. I don't have game. I don't go outside. I don't even have friends. Do you really think I'd have a girlfriend? I'm not an idiot. Are we really a couple? Well, of course we are. I feel the panic setting in. +5. Nagi glowers at me. It's quite an unnerving expression, actually, which makes me tremble. Why does she look so pissed? I understand being upset, but... I wouldn't lie about this, Ayumu. Do you think I'm a liar? Yes. No, I guess not, but... Well, good. Don't ask me silly questions, then. It's quite hurtful, really, being told by your own boyfriend that he doesn't remember you. If you weren't as sick as you are, I would be upset. You are upset. But it's to be expected, I guess, that you'd be a little confused given you have such a high fever. I guess I can let you off the hook. For now, at least. Would you like me to fetch you any ibuprofen? What about some water? Well, you could have given that to me earlier! Oh, no. Don't go out of your way. I'm sure I'll live. +2 on ease. You'd better. If you don't, then I would. Well, let's not worry about that right now, hehe. I think you need to sleep now more than anything. Do you want to get some more shut-eye? Do you mind? Sorry, I'm playing with my pen right now. It'd be a bit rude inviting you over and then spending the whole time asleep. Don't think nothing of it. I came here to help you after all, and if sleeping will help you, which I think it will, then that's what you should do. Don't worry about me. You should be thinking about yourself right now, silly. Just relax, you hear? Your super cute girlfriend's gonna do her darndest to help you recover. I'm not going to leave until we've got that fever of yours under control and that frown turned upside down. Right. Nagi's voice is high-pitched and it hits me like a freight train. It's relentless. Oh, should I be more annoying? Do you want me to be more annoying? I could try. I'm not sure if listening to her spiel is making me feel much better. Especially because her voice is grating on my ears. My head is still aching, though I suppose I appreciate how determined she is to cheer me up. I still can't quite recall having a girlfriend, especially not one this devoted, but, well, whatever. I'm sick. I must be confused, like Nagi said. I shouldn't pay it too much heed. I yawn. Tears began to bead in the corner of my eyes. Obediently, my eyelids began to fall shut. I feel so tired and uneasy. Yes, that's right. Get some more sleep, Ayumu. Sleep as much as you like. I'm not gonna leave you. I'll always be here to take care of you. I promise. Why do you keep showing me one finger? I already did that test. I'm not sure how long I slept for, but when I wake up, I feel distinctly groggy. Where's there a lawnmower? Oh, that's a laptop, not a lawnmower. I just realized that's a desk. I blink, attempting to disperse the white spots that are scattered in front of my vision. She drugged me. Maybe she didn't hit me in the head, she just drugged me somehow. Saw that Dr. Pepper I drank and she knew. She knew I was gonna drink Dr. Pepper again. So she spiked it. The back of my head is still pounding. The thing is, it says back of the head, so I'm just like, she did hit us over the head. I still feel out of it regardless of how much I've slept, which might be why the sight of the girl sitting at my bedside shocks me so much. It takes me a few moments before I realize that I've seen her before. She was sitting next to me the last time I woke up. She said her name was... Nagi? That's right. It's good to see that you're awake, Ayumu. You were out of it for ages. You really must be tired. Well, that answers one question I had. I was wondering how long I'd been asleep. Pretty tired, yeah. I look at my bedside table searching for my digital alarm clock, but I can't find it. Where's my clock? Now that's funny. I was sure I had a clock there, though. I don't recall using it very much, not in the last few months at least. I'd be panicking if I couldn't find my phone. I'd have been like, where's my phone? Babe, where's my phone? I need to check. I need to look at Instagram Reels. It's my routine. I didn't have any need for it. Did I throw it out? I don't remember doing that, though. I don't remember much of anything. Oh? Nagi must have noticed my expression twisting because she frowns. Is something bothering you? You're not in any pain, are you? I'm always in pain. Oh, no, I'm fine. Just wanted to know what time it was, if you knew. The time? I think it's about midday. You woke up at 9, but you've been sleeping the last 3 hours. 3 hours? That's nothing. That's quite a lot. Yeah, you were asleep for a while, like I said, you poor thing. You've been laid very low indeed, but don't worry. I've not been hanging around doing nothing like these last 3 hours. I actually made some rice porridge for you to shore up your strength. You did? I don't see any rice porridge. Did you eat it all? Didn't even save any for me? God, these people. Ron Jr. didn't save anything for me to drink. You didn't save any rice porridge for me. I did, yeah. It's still in the kitchen. Let me warm it up for you. Nagi rises to her feet, the hem of her skirt fluttering, then sets off. I hear the sound of distant clattering in the kitchen, or pots and pans, and then the shuffle of returning footsteps. Nagi's wearing indoor slippers so her feet don't make very much noise, her footsteps are cushioned. I guess she doesn't want to get my floor dirty. Not that it matters. My floor is filthy just like the rest of my room. It should be, at least, but my surroundings look tidier than I remember. My alarm clock isn't the only thing I see that's gone missing while I've been asleep. All the dirt is gone, bring it back! Where's my filth? Ugh! Ta-da! Nurse Nagi is back on the scene. Nagi appears before me less than 5 minutes after her departure. She's smiling brightly and she's holding a tray. This is for you, Ayumu. Eat up. On the tray, which Nagi is now thrusting at me, there's a bowl of warmed up rice porridge from which steam is gently exuding, and a cup of herbal tea. The rice porridge is a milky white and the tea is a translucent copper color. They both look nourishing and they smell pretty good too. Can't see anything wrong with this food, not at a glance at least, but... Is this safe to eat? I'm sure it's fine. You know what I'm gonna pick. Wait, hold on, I'm getting confused. Is this safe to eat? I'm not sure if I should eat this. I still don't know who Nagi is, not really. She says she's my girlfriend, but I don't recognize her. For all I know, she could be a member of a cult. Could this all be a ploy to brainwash me? She could be a mimic. She could be something that's trying to trick me into believing that she's friendly and then eats me. Probes my butt. It's unlikely, but... Well, aren't you gonna eat it, Ayumu? You look almost as pale as the porridge. I wonder how fair of an assessment that is. I can't see my own reflection, so I can't confirm or deny it. I don't feel so good. Actually, I don't think I can eat. I wouldn't be surprised if it's true, though. I do feel pretty rotten. I don't know what to make of Nagi's hospitality, or of Nagi herself for that matter, but perhaps I'd be better off going along with what she wants. I don't want to upset her. What do I even have to be suspicious of anyway? A lot? Am I afraid that Nagi might have snuck a razor blade into my food? That's like the worst choice you could have picked of things that she could have snuck in your food. You could have been like, she could have snuck some odd colored M&Ms into my food. That would be ridiculous. I'm not thinking clearly. Ayumu, don't you like porridge? Oh no, it looks really good. I'm sure it'll be delicious. Probably. Aren't you gonna eat it then? It'll go cold if you keep dilly-dallying, silly. Right. I'll try a bit of it. Thank you, Nagi.
It's no problem, and you don't need to thank me. I'm your girlfriend after all. It should be a given that I'd look after you.
I suppose it would, yeah. I guess. I dip my spoon into my porridge, under Nagi's watchful gaze, and bring it to my lips. There's a razor blade. I blow on it. Hey, if you're my girlfriend, shouldn't you be feeding me? Then I put the spoon in my mouth.
What do you think? Is it good?
I let the porridge linger on my tongue for a few moments before swallowing. Tastes bitter. Slides down my throat easily as I expected it would. It is rice porridge after all, and it's quite watery at that. Nagi must have made it like this on purpose so it would be easier for me to eat. That was very considerate of her. I'm not sure if I can handle any food that's too solid at the moment given how unwell I feel. If I had to describe it in one word, I'd say it's pretty homey. It reminds me a little of my mother's cooking, actually. My mother used to make me rice porridge just like this when I was young and I was too sick to go to school. This is all rather nostalgic. It's good, yeah. Thanks, Nagi.
I'm glad to hear it. I know my cooking isn't the best, but I've been trying. I want to get better all for your sake. Now why don't you finish it up? You've got to get a little more food in you.
Aye, aye, Captain. I'll do my best.
I prefer nurse over captain. The latter sounds a little too nautical. But whatever floats your boat.
I think captains are sexier, so... I finished the rest of my porridge and washed it down with a cup of herbal tea. The tea wasn't as hot as I was fearing, and it doesn't scald my tongue. It's quite soothing, in fact. I wonder what exactly is in that tea. Where did Nagi get it? I don't really recall buying any loose leaves. I'm not a big tea drinker. Maybe she brought it over from her house? Or, bought it at a convenience store, I don't know. Now you're just trying to make yourself uneasy.
There we go, that wasn't so hard, was it? I'm very proud of you, Ayumu.
Nagi smiles at me angelically after I've finished eating, as though I've succeeded in accomplishing a truly difficult task. You'd be tempted to think, based on the way she's carrying on, I've just run a marathon, which, given how I feel right now, would be an impossibility. The porridge might have bolstered my strength, but there's no way in hell I'm ready to throw back my covers and start working out. I'm gonna throw back my covers and I'm not gonna have any legs. Well, it's easy to eat your food. You're really good at cooking.
Well, I don't know about that. There are better cooks out there than me, really. All I can really do is follow recipes. I'm not particularly gifted in the kitchen, but I have been working hard to make food that's worthy of you.
Worthy of me, you say?
Yeah, you're a great guy, so it's a pretty tall order, but I'm not gonna give in.
Lies? You can't be all like, you're my girlfriend when 1, my room's not covered in filth. The last time I was here, it was absolutely filthy. 2, I'm ugly as fuck. So this is already not adding up. And 3, I'm not even that great of a person. So to say that I'm a great guy is a fucking lie.
Yeah, you're a great guy, so it's a pretty tall order, but I'm not gonna give in. I'm not there quite yet, but I'm sure I'll improve.
Nagi flashes me a peace sign, then takes my tray from my bed. 2! Finally, gosh. I think she means to take it to the kitchen, but instead she sets it on my bedside table and says,
This is the least I can do for you, really, given how hard you work. You need to eat a lot of healthy, nourishing food, and you need to get a lot of rest. Do you hear me, mister? Otherwise, you won't be able to finish the last chapter of Crimson Fantasia by next Friday.
Crimson Fantasia? Why does that name sound so familiar? I'm sure I've heard of it before, but it's hard to place it. My brain feels so fuzzy. I'd have thought Nagi's rice porridge would give me strength, but it's not having much of an effect. I still feel wretched.
Yes, Crimson Fantasia!
Fortunately, Nagi is with me, and she seems to know even more about me than I do at the moment, at least.
I want to see what's going to happen, and I'm sure all of your other fans do too. The last chapter ended on such a cliffhanger.
Oh my god. I got transported into a different version of myself.
I absolutely have to know what's going to happen to Eris. You can't kill her off, not now she's finally reunited with her sister. She's barely had a chance to talk to Harmonia yet. There's still so much left unspoken between the two of them, and Eris's fight scenes are the coolest in the whole story. I'll be really upset if she doesn't emerge from her scrap with the Arcanist alive.
Oh, right. Nagi's just thrown a bunch of impenetrable sounding character names at me, but I think I'm beginning to see at long last what she means.
Crimson Fantasia is a web novel I've been working on during the last 3 months. I borrowed a bit of inspiration from Ryui's incredibly popular Elf Forest series, but Crimson Fantasia is much darker. Crimson Fantasia stars an average Japanese boy called Haru, who, through a series of unfortunate happenstances, winds up being reincarnated in a magical world called Grimoire. Oh my god, is she just an insane fan? She just really likes our web novel. Once in Grimoire, he meets the plucky young sorceress Eris, who was raised an orphan in the slums. Wait, was it novel or webcomic? I forgot already. Eris looks your 10-penny ragged orphan, but she's actually a direct descendant of the royal family, one half of a set of twin princesses who were torn apart for unknown reasons. I know Crimson Fantasia sounds an awful lot like Elf Forest based on the synopsis, but I'm just painting in broad brushstrokes. They're not actually that alike. Haru isn't as forgiving as Itsuki is, for one thing. He has quite the
So you just made fanfiction, is what you're telling me. I see where this is going.
Has quite the temper on him, something which Eris, who isn't shy or retiring, has to take him to task for. Then there's Eris herself. Unlike Elf Forest's Princess Luluna, who is beautiful and kind, but during battles quite useless, Eris participates and fights alongside Haru as his equal. She's proficient in wielding a large number of weapons, but she prefers to use a scythe. I know scythes are pretty derivative in and of themselves, but I think they look cool, so whatever. I think it's fine. If Nagi knows about Crimson Fantasia, I suppose she must have read it. I wonder. Are you a fan of Crimson Fantasia, Nagi? Oh, Yumo, what sort of question is that? It was an earnest one. My mind's still all muddled. I could tell. I'm starting to worry that you've forgotten everything. Well, I haven't forgotten about Crimson Fantasia or its fan base. You like it as well, don't you? How can you ask that, you big dummy? I know you're trying to be modest. That's one of your most appealing traits, but you don't need to worry about that. Not around me. You should know by now that I don't just like Crimson Fantasia. I love it. Oh yeah? Yeah, I'm its #1 fan, and that's saying something given it's become so popular. So she is a crazed fan. I was there first, however, before it became so big. I was leaving your supportive comments right from the beginning on your blog. That's how we ended up meeting, remember? That day you emailed me asking me out for coffee was the most precious day of my life.
I would never do that to a fan. What the fuck? I'm like, ew. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to anyone who's read any of my stuff or knows I exist doing any of this other stuff. You can only know me as Bastard Man.
I was so excited. I thought my heart would burst. Like, for real. I felt like I was meeting a celebrity. And in a way, I guess you are. You're quite the big shot.
Huh? That sounds plausible, but I have a few doubts. Is Crimson Fantasia really that successful?
Only in my dreams.
No matter what Nagi says, I don't think Crimson Fantasia has ever been very popular. I've sunk endless hours into that story, but I don't think it ever caught on. A few people commented on the story in the beginning saying it seemed promising, but even these regulars dropped off past the 10th chapter or so. I adored my story, but the public at large didn't seem to care very much about it, if at all. It was much harder to get any meaningful attention than even a cynic like myself had imagined. I was a nobody, really. That's why I don't have any friends. But she, at least, was always there for me. She commented on every single new chapter of mine, even when I surpassed the 50-chapter barrier. Her screen name was Nagiko. I remember it well because I always look forward to her feedback. Her comments were detailed, well-considered, and earnest. She asked me a lot of questions about Crimson Fantasia's world setting, the characters' philosophies, and their developing relationships. I thought her enthusiasm was pretty cute. Well, I say she, but I never actually knew Nagiko's gender. I just assumed she was a girl based on her screen name. I would have just assumed she was a guy. I can't remember, especially if it's like shonen type stuff. I can't remember sharing any private emails with Nagiko, and I certainly can't remember meeting her in public, but if the smiling girl sitting at my sickbed is anybody, it makes sense that she would be Nagiko. Did I pluck up the courage to email her after all? If so, that's pretty impressive. Go me. I'm not as socially awkward as I thought. Wrong! This is suspicious. Plus 50 unease. So if you're Nagiko, I can feel my thoughts whirring inside my head like clockwork. Piecing this together is quite a struggle. This must mean that you really are my girlfriend then.
Yes, that's right. What else would I be, silly Ayumu? I'm your girlfriend and I love you lots and lots. I love you so much, in fact, I'm gonna do my best to nurse you back into tip-top fashion. Or my name isn't Nagi, and it looks like you could use it too. Now let's see how your temperature's doing.
Nagi leans in, then presses her forehead against mine. Her lips are very close to my own, to such a degree I can't help but think about kissing her. Nagi peers into my eyes curiously. Our faces press perilously close, while I, not knowing what else to do, sit there feeling like a stone statue. I was hot already thanks to my fever, but I feel even hotter now. My palms are starting to sweat. Arms weak. Mom spaghetti. I can feel Nagi's breath against my cheek. It's very soft, and though I know I'm being silly, it feels quantifiably different to my own humdrum everyday breathing somehow. Something about Nagi's irrefutable femaleness is amping this interaction up to 11. Why am I shaking so much? I'm allergic to girls! Her forehead is like ice against mine. I might as well be pressing myself against a window pane in the winter. Doesn't blood run through Nagi's veins? She looks so perfect, I wouldn't be wholly unsurprised. She's so pretty, she might as well be made of plastic.
You do feel pretty warm, yeah. I guess there's nothing else for it. You'll have to go back to bed, mister.
Is that an order? I like being ordered around. You should do it more.
It was more a request, really. I can order you around, however, if you're into that. Should Nurse Nagi tell you to lie back down on the double?
You could, yeah. What if I refuse, though?
Then I'll have to give you an injection. That's what naughty boys who don't listen to their nurses deserve. You don't want me to hurt you, do you?
Scared. Fear! I don't like this joking, no! I know Nagi's joking, but the casual way she talks about hurting me makes me flinch. It brings back memories. I remember. But no, that's just a bad dream. I don't want to think about it. Perhaps I would be better off sleeping after all, and then I turn around my back facing her because I'm upset now. No, I'm scared. What if she does hurt me? No, it's alright. I've already slept a lot. I don't think I'm ready to snatch 40 winks just yet.
Are you sure? You'll never be able to shake this sickness if you don't get enough rest. I'm worried about you.
Nagi's eyes bore into mine. They look very large, almost all-encompassing in a way, and I swallow. Gulp? I could get lost in those eyes if I let myself. I don't want to let my self-appointed nurse down, but... No, it's fine. I appreciate your worry, but I'm a grown man. I can look after myself more or less.
You say that, but I know better.
I beg your pardon? Now that was an unexpectedly harsh tone. Does Nagi have some dirt on me or something?
You heard what I said.
I'm like this.
You say you can look after yourself, but who's the one who let his shower get all grotty, huh? Grody. Who's the one who left that huge box of potatoes your parents shipped you from the countryside under your bed for months and months until they started sprouting feelers? Who's the one who never cooks, and on the rare occasion he tries, he peels his fingers or gets eggshell in his omelets, huh? Who could that be, Ayumu? I'm sure I have no idea.
Well, shit. I didn't know Nagi's face could do that. I could, because she did it before. She doesn't look very cute now in the midst of chewing me out. Maybe I deserve it. I am a disaster of a human after all. That's why I don't trust this. I'm sorry, Nagi. I know I'm pretty awful at looking after myself.
No, you don't say.
Oh.
No, you don't say.
And I'm glad that I have you around to clean up after me. Really, I am. I appreciate everything you've done for me. You're too good to me.
What? Really? Do you remember everything now, Ayumu?
Not entirely, no. Can remember the way my apartment used to look, though, which was something of a squalid hellhole, and that's being rude to squalid hellholes. If Nagi's the one who painstakingly swept my floor clean of empty soda bottles filled with piss, junk food wrappers, and worn clothes, and she's even better than a girlfriend. She must be some kind of goddess. I remember that you've done a lot for me, yeah, I know you're always putting me first, which is very sweet of you. You don't have to worry about me right now, though. I'm running a bit of a fever, sure, but it's not that serious. I'm not about to die. Stairs. You don't need to keep me in bed around the clock.
So you say. But I'm afraid if I don't keep a close eye on you, you'll start pushing yourself too hard. That's why you need to rest.
I'll be fine. Simply being with you is restful enough.
Oh, Nagi stammers and blushes. I didn't think that corny line would actually work on her, so I'm pretty surprised. I know I've written much more romantic lines in the past in Crimson Fantasia, in the quieter, more serious scenes exchanged between Haru and Eris. I don't have much experience with relationships, at least, until I met Nagi, so working on those scenes always took me a while. It was like pulling teeth, only it was even more excruciating. I can't think of anything worse than making a clueless virgin write romance scenes. Are you sure about that, Ayumu? I'm quite sure. I'm getting tired of staying in bed, actually. Starting to make me feel a little bit insane. So why don't you let me help out? You took time making that rice porridge for me, so I might as well do the washing up. Wouldn't that be fair? I hate washing up and household chores in general, but it seems important that I volunteer my services to Nagi. I don't want her to think I'm a complete waste of space. Nagi, however, doesn't seem too impressed by my suggestion. She doesn't thank me. Instead, she tuts. Don't be silly. You're much, much too tired to wash the dishes. I'm tired, but I'm not that tired. I can handle a few chores. You might be able to handle it, but that doesn't mean you should. You ought to leave everything to me. That's why I came here, dummy. I did it to look after you so you can recuperate as much as you want. You really should be sleeping. But if you're really not tired, maybe you can sit in the kitchen with me while I do the washing up. We can talk if you want. You can tell me about the latest plot developments you have in mind for Crimson Fantasia. That'd be fun. It's not a bad idea, I guess. Sure beats staying in bed all day, languishing. Are you sure you want to hear about the next chapter, though? You don't want me to spoil it, do you? I don't mind. You always bounce plot ideas around with me. It's nothing new. Do I? Indeed? Can't say I recall that. But then again, I don't recall much of anything. Shouldn't question it. Alright, let's do that. Yay! Let me get started on the dishes then. You can come with Ayumu. I'm really pumped to see how Eris is going to get out of this one. Nagi helps me out of bed with all the consideration you might show an elderly grandparent. Her right arm snakes around my waist and her chest presses against my side. She's close enough to me that I can feel her hair on my cheek. If she tries to kiss you, is she gonna like make a face of absolute disgust? She's like, I can pretend up to this point, but going any further, absolutely not. I let Nagi lead me to the kitchen, although in actuality I don't think I'm so very sick that I really need her help. Her thoughtfulness is appreciated though. She's being very gentle. Nagi settles me down at the table, then turns to the sink. She turns on the tap deftly in a way that suggests familiarity with my kitchen and sets to work. The water cascades against the basin of the sink in a regular manner, like rainwater down a gutter. Nagi begins to hum to herself as she washes up. It's a light, lilting sort of hum, something distinctly melodic. All the while the pot in the sink begins to fill with water. I watch, captivated, as this water bursts into banks and spills over the sides of the pot and into the plug hole. Nagi continues her work like this for a brief while, unimpeded before she speaks up. So Ayumu? Nagi glances at me from over her shoulder, still smiling. What's going to happen in the next chapter of Crimson Fantasia? Inquiring minds are simply desperate to know. Eris was in a pretty tricky spot when chapter 63 left off. Things were looking kinda dicey. I can't see how she's going to fight her way out of this, not when Haru's been detained. There's no way you can kill her off, though. She's much too important. I wasn't planning to kill Eris, no. She's a central part of the story. Without her, Haru would be totally lost. He relies on her a lot, just like she relies on him. They're pretty codependent. Well, I knew that much. The relationship is pretty cute, really, even if Eris is too proud to say that she likes him. That's another reason why she can't die here. I won't accept it. She has to at least confess to Haru first, otherwise all that work you put into establishing their relationship would have been for nothing. Of course I consider that too. I don't want the conclusion of Haru and Eris' romance arc to be unsatisfying. I still have a lot of plans for Eris. Her story isn't even nearly over yet. I'm glad to hear it, but how's she gonna escape then? She won't get a last-minute power-up, will she? No, I don't think. That'd be a bit too cliché. I was thinking of having Harmonia rescue her, actually. Oh, that'd be great to re-establish their relationship. I know Harmonia has wanted to get to know her sister better, but she's never really had the chance. She's too busy with all that princessy stuff, and anyway, Eris is so aloof. Eris has to learn to set their differences aside, though. I don't think she'll ever be happy otherwise. I agree with you there, yeah. I want to give Eris and Harmonia a chance to make up with one another properly. And having Harmonia save Eris from a life or death situation seemed the best way to go about it. Harmonia would probably feel obliged to act in any case, given Eris is her twin sister. She's felt guilty ever since Eris was cast out of the palace because of that silly prophecy. She wanted to help her sister for years, but I'm having some doubts about the story beat. You are? Yeah, it seems a bit derivative, I guess. I know there's a similar scene with Astra and Cornelia and Elf Forest, and well, Harmonia is a princess and her parents are very overprotective. They never let her leave the castle. She was only able to sneak out before because she was disguised, but her guards captured her and brought her back. Now her parents know about her old escape route. It'd be even harder for her to get away. I'm not sure if Harmonia would be able to escape the confines of her chamber to see her sister, and even if she did, would she really be able to stop the Arcanists? Harmonia needs a bit of magic, but she's nowhere near as strong as Eris. In a battle, she'd probably be a hindrance. Maybe in a normal fight. She'd be standing up for her own sister, though. I'd think that'd give her a boost. I guess. It doesn't really solve the initial problem, however, of getting her to the fight in the first place. Oh, it's fine. I'm sure you'll be able to figure something out, Ayumi. You're a genius, after all.
I think genius is overselling me a bit.
And I don't think it's selling you enough. You've written a lot of Crimson Fantasia in such a short span of time, too, and I think it's all super impressive. The characters are also lifelike. They feel just like real people, especially Haru and Eris. They have so much depth, they have so much hopes and dreams. And the fight scenes are really cool, too. If anybody can think of a satisfying conclusion to this arc, I'm sure you can. I mean, obviously you can. You're the one who invented this whole universe.
I guess. My reply when it comes is non-committal. Is this a universe created from my own mind? I appreciate Nagiko's support, but when Nagiko really say all that, it's a bit embarrassing. I don't know, I feel like Nagiko wouldn't, lift me up this much. Nagiko used to praise Crimson Fantasia a lot, but her praise wasn't wholly devoid of constructive criticism. She would always tell me when certain story elements didn't come together. She complimented my work on the characters just like Nagi did, but she thought the drama I introduced in Chapter 34 with Eris's long-lost sister, Harmonia, was sloppily executed. In fact, I don't think Nagiko ever much liked the inclusion of Harmonia in Crimson Fantasia. She said Eris's relationship with her sister took too much attention away from her budding romance with Haru. As much as Nagiko liked Crimson Fantasia, she never called me a genius either, not like Nagi just did. I'm certain of that much at least. But am I imagining that? Ah! Ah! My head is starting to hurt again. I don't know what to think, but I do know, despite my misgivings, that something isn't quite right about this. The moment's at 50%. Nagi's smile looks all of a sudden disconcertingly inorganic. The air about me begins to hum as though full of 1,000 languidly buzzing insects. Reality seems to shift, to warp, and then...
Ayumu?
Oh, where'd you get that knife? Nagi looks at me, her brow creased with concern. She's still standing by the sink, and in one hand she's holding quite a sharp, hefty knife. She must have been in the middle of cleaning it because the silvery blade of the knife is damp with water. A few clear, crystalline droplets of water roll down the shaft of the knife, then pool at the junction where the blade meets the handle. Nagi's fingers are wet and so is the front of her blouse. I watch as round pearl-like droplets roll off the knife then fall through the air. It's almost hypnotic. I find myself staring at the sharp blade of Nagi's knife and the water that's trickling down it until my head begins to ache. A dull, buzzing sound fills my skull. I feel like I'm on the brink of remembering something, but...
Ayumu?
Looking worried now, Nagi casts the knife into the sink where it lands with a dull, metallic clatter and rushes over to me. She rests her hands on either side of my chair, effectively fencing me in, and leans towards me, her damp chest inches away from my own.
Ayumu, are you alright?
I look at Nagi dazedly. Her face is inches away from my own. Her eyes really are huge. Get away from me! All of a sudden, everything feels like too much. The walls in my kitchen are cramped, claustrophobic. It feels like they're closing in on me. I can't breathe. I close my eyes, squeezing them shut in an attempt to steady myself. I inhale slowly, then exhale. I can smell mold, mildew. I can smell decomposing food, unwashed clothes, and the stench of dirty skin.
This is all my imagination. I
can smell copper, rust, and blood. My eyes are beating inside my skull in tandem with my heart. My stomach churns. I feel like I'm going to vomit. What if I'm the killer?
Yumu?
But the moment passes. My eyelids flicker open and, once again, my eyes meet Nagi's. They're so full of concern, practically pregnant with it. Ew. That I feel guilty for worrying her. Some boyfriend I am. I'm sorry. Just felt a little lightheaded, that's all, but I'm fine now. You don't need to worry about me.
Well, of course I'm gonna worry about you. I care about you. I know you want to act tough and all, but you don't need to put on a front around me. I can see right through you. You're feeling sick again, aren't you?
Maybe a little.
I knew it.
Nagi sighs.
You guys are all the same, I swear. You're all so boneheaded. You like to act tough even when you're unwell until it all gets too much and you can't keep pretending. By that point, however, it's already too late. You're awful at asking for help.
1.
Now let's get you settled again beneath your sheets. I'll not have you overexerting yourself, not on my watch.
I'm actually feeling a little better since that strange experience I had, but I doubt anything good will come from telling Nagi about this. I don't think she'll listen to me, she looks too annoyed. For such a slender girl who isn't particularly tall, she's surprisingly stern. Alright, you know best. I wouldn't want to make my nurse worry, so I'll try to take better care of myself.
See to it that you do. I can help, but there's only so much I can do.
It's with this stern rebuke that Nagi helps me to my feet. She guides me back to my bedroom, her left arm wound about my waist to steady me. I hit unease 100 and she turns into, like, the fly queen or something. Cockroach queen. I let her walk to my bedside and I let her sit me down. She pulls back my covers in one deft, smooth movement, a bit like a magician, and obediently I lie on my back.
There, that's much better. You should be safe now, Ayumu, so don't fret. I'm gonna keep a really close eye on you, see? I'm not gonna let anybody hurt you, not while I'm around. Not even you.
Nagi giggles to herself, then bends, her long hair cascading over her slender shoulders. Looks like she's reaching for something, but what? I watch on, my interest piqued. There isn't much else to watch in my small bedroom, which has been scoured clean, as Nagi retrieves a mysterious object from the ground. It's woolen, whatever it is, and comprised of numerous pastels, baby blues and pale pinks. Its shape is strange and indeterminate, immutable almost, and I can't quite place what it's supposed to be. In Nagi's fingers, she's holding a pair of spiked implements, which, if their ends weren't so blunt, might be good ways to torture somebody. Is she knitting? Or crocheting? I wonder what they could be. Hey, Nagi, what's that?
Oh, this? I just thought I'd do some knitting. You know, it's one of my hobbies.
Do I know that? I'm not sure, but I probably should.
I hope this isn't bothering you, Ayumu.
Oh, no, it's fine. I don't mind. Please, feel free.
That's what I like to hear. I'll do some knitting then while you lie down. Do you want to have a nap?
Not just yet. I'm not tired.
Are you sure? You look a little drowsy to me, but if you're not ready to nod off just yet, I suppose I can turn the TV on. I don't know what's airing right now, but that should be more interesting than staring at the walls or at watching me knit.
I think watching Nagi knit is pretty interesting myself. She's awfully dexterous with her fingers. Fingers that are long and slender, almost like needles themselves. Ah! Fear! A shiver runs up my spine, and unnerved, I glance away from Nagi. It's not like Nagi's fingers much different from my own, even if her skin is paler, but they don't look quite right. They remind me of a doll's. Ah! My sex doll is alive! Do they have too many joints? That's ridiculous, though, surely. Oh, she's AI generated!
Ayumu, is something wrong?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Let's see what's on TV, shall we?
That sounds like a plan to me.
Nagi retrieves the remote from my bedside table, then switches the TV on. My TV is an old, boxy set, more than a dozen years out of date, and the picture flickers quite a lot. It never really bothered me watching it myself because the shaking picture made me feel seasick. I think I can endure that right now, though. I feel so sick already, I doubt this old TV will be able to make things much worse. Nagi flips through channels idly past the news, which she deems to be too depressing, and some documentary about lions on the Sangretti, which she says is too violent, until she settles on some kids' cartoon. It seems to be a magical girl show based on the designs of the characters. The main cast is comprised of elementary school-aged girls with wide eyes and big bright hair that reminds me of Plasticine. It's fairly cute, I guess. It's inoffensive, a bit like Nagi's homemade rice porridge. I'm not really into kitty stuff like this, but I can deal with it.
Is this alright, Ayumu?
It's fine, I guess. I should be able to distract from my sickness if nothing else. I wish the screen wasn't flickering so much, though. It's making me want to go, huh.
Good, let's leave this on then. I'm pretty fond of this series, actually.
You are?
Yeah, who doesn't love magical girls? I was really into this stuff when I was a kid. I wanted to be a magical warrior myself one day. I wanted to save the whole world with the power of love. I even wrote that on my career survey back in 1st grade. I think my teacher was a bit bemused, but what did they expect? That's what all little girls want to be.
So how did that go? Were you able to make your dream come true?
Well, none of my wishes on shooting stars have come true just yet. I still haven't met my own fairy, and I haven't been given a transformation item. I did figure, however, that I don't need to save the whole world. That'd be quite an undertaking. My love might be boundless, but my energy isn't. I can't be everywhere at once.
Clack, 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 goes Nagi's knitting needles.
But I can be by your side. That's all I want, really.
And you're gonna be my magical girl?
Well, why not? It sounds like a worthy challenge, especially since you're so bad at looking after yourself.
Hey, was that really necessary?
All's fair in love and war, Ayumu. And anyway, you know I'm right. You were in a really bad state before you met me. I worry what might have happened to you if we'd not started dating.
There's black mold in my room, that's why I'm hallucinating.
But we don't need to worry about that because I'm here. I'm always here. That's what magical girls do.
I thought you were my nurse, though. Magical nurse.
There's nothing stopping me from being a magical nurse.
I guess not, no. I wonder what that would look like.
Me too. I might have to sketch an idea up.
You can draw?
You know I can draw, silly. Who do you think sent you all that fan art of Eris?
Good point. I can remember that at least. The art that Nagiko sent me of her renditions of Crimson Fantasia's main characters was very precious to me. It made quite the impression. Nobody else had ever drawn me art of my own characters, not before nor after. I was so elated when I received those drawings I couldn't stop smiling. I was on cloud 9 for the whole day. If anybody had seen me, they probably would have thought that I looked creepy, and maybe I did. I didn't care, though. I was in my house. It didn't matter. That was the first time I'd ever felt so happy. This warm feeling floods my stomach once more. As contented, I look back at the television set. This episode looks to be an important one. The main magical girl, whose name is, of all things, Pumpkin, is facing off against what I assume is the final boss. Is this the season finale? Not an episode for me to start on. Pumpkin stares up at her rival, and with narrowed eyes, she says,
I can't let this stand. I have to save. I won't let. Give up her dreams.
The colors on the screen are a little distorted, and so is Pumpkin's voice, but I think I understand what's going on more or less. I continue to watch the show, and Nagi continues to knit. The regular clack, clack, clack of her needles acts as a backdrop to the action on screen. Quite a soothing sound. It merges with the sounds of my own breathing, the irregular static of the television set. My eyelids begin to droop. I think I might have begun at some point to drift off. But I'm swiftly snapped back into consciousness by a series of harsh electronic beeps. That sounds familiar. Is that my phone? Somebody must be trying to call me. I clean forgot when I was looking for a clock earlier about my phone. Its existence had slipped my mind. Now I can hear my phone ringing. However, now that I can feel it vibrating against my upper thigh, I'm surprised it could have evaded my attention for so long. Why didn't I think to check it earlier? I reach into my pocket. My fingers curl around my phone, but before I can retrieve it, Nagi looks at me and says,
Ignore that.
Huh? I look at Nagi, nonplussed. Well, what's the matter?
That infernal buzzing is the matter. Don't bother with your phone, Ayumu. I doubt it'll be anything important. Just hand it over to me. There's a good boy. You're too sick to take any calls right now. But nothing.
Oh god. Nagi's face distorts, but it lasts only an instant. She inhales. Then she says very calmly,
I'm saying this for your own good, Ayumu. Don't look at me like that. I would never, ever do anything to hurt you.
She sounds pretty insistent about this, but then again, so does the mystery caller, who still hasn't hung up. My phone is still buzzing in my pocket. I can feel it juddering against the fingers of my right hand, which are pressed against it. If I look at it, I'm gonna snap to reality. It would be easy to take my phone out of my pocket than answer it.
But it would be equally easy to hand over my phone to Nagi, and she seems so worked up about this for some reason, which is escaping me that I don't want to upset her. She's doing this for my sake after all. What should I do? I'm answering the phone.
You can't stop me. Oh no! I only have 6 save slots.
Nagi might not be very happy about this, but the continued buzzing of my phone is making me wonder. I'd like to discover who's calling me at the very least so I can determine whether it's something important. What if it's one of my lecturers from university wondering where I am? Granted, that thought does make me feel a little sicker than I already am, but I don't think there's anything to be gained by avoiding this call.
Oh my god, are we gonna snap to reality? Come on. I'm only at 53% though. It's with this thought, maybe it'll just jack up to 100 once I wake up. It's with this thought in my mind that I extricate my phone from my pocket and check who's currently calling me. I was hoping looking at the caller would shed some light on the situation, but it's an unknown number. Well, that's not very helpful. It's probably a scam call then, but I might as well take it just to make sure. I accept the call, then press my phone to my ear and address them. Hello? Who is this?
Wake up. Ayumu, you have to wake up.
I'm met initially by the low hum of static. I can't hear anything on the other side of the line beyond a faint buzzing that sounds like flies no matter how I try to strain my ears. Ah, flies! Was this a waste of time? Hello? Hello, who is this? I try again, repositioning my phone against my ear as though this might help. And the moment I do, I hear it. Somebody's crying. They're crying my name. Ayumu, oh please, Ayumu. It's hard to identify the speaker given the call is modulated with static, but their voice sounds familiar. It's a female voice, that much at least. I can discern. It's high-pitched and breathy, and it sounds stricken. Ayumu, please wake up! Huh? What do they mean by that? Did I mishear them? Oh my god, I'm in a coma! The line's so bad that's not beyond the realm of possibility, but I think that's enough of that. A frowning Nagi reaches out before I have a chance to formulate a reply and plucks my phone from my hand. I thought I was gripping onto my phone pretty tightly, but Nagi is able to wrest it from me without too much effort. Tight-lipped Nagi looks down at the caller. She clicks her tongue. Then she hangs up. What a waste of time. Nagi stashes my phone in her own skirt pocket, then plants her hands on her hips. You shouldn't have answered that, Ayumu. I told you not to. You're in no fit state to talk to other people right now, and anyway, it's only upset you. What? But Nagi? I look at Nagi, at my girlfriend, uneasily. I can't see my own expression, of course, but I can feel it twisting. I don't know who was calling, but they sounded really distressed. They were calling out to me. They told me to wake up. What do you think that means? It doesn't mean anything. It was just a prank. Don't pay it any heed. It was probably one of your friends at university playing pretend. Goodness, I don't have friends. People can be so inconsiderate. They must have too much time on their hands if they think teasing you is a good use of their time. I've half a mind to phone them back, give them a piece of my mind. But I don't want to give them the satisfaction. They don't deserve it. Well, let's not talk about this anymore. The less said about your so-called friends, the better. Other people are all annoying. Let's not worry about them, alright? Right. I'll try to forget about that then. Good. I'm glad to hear it. The matter of the mystery caller settled, the giggling Nagi returns to her knitting. I watch her, my head propped up on my pillows, and Nagi manipulates her needles through her amorphous pastel creation. Clack, clack, clack. The sear sunlight which spills through my window catches on the edges of the needles, so they seem to flash. The regular, repetitive sounds of Nagi's needles puts me in mind of cracking bones. Nagi looks content enough, poring over her knitting, but my own feeling of uneasiness remains. My stomach is churning again. What is going on here? I'm sure there's more to Nagi than what it might initially seem. Something more beyond her cute pom-pom earrings and her sweet smiling face, but clack, clack, clack. I can't think of what that something more might be. I don't know who she is, but maybe I'm afraid to know. I'm afraid to ask her. I don't want to hear the answer. I should just keep quiet. It's easier to pretend that everything's alright. I let the sounds of Nagi's knitting wash over me. Clack, clack, clack. And with sightless, unseeing eyes, I turn my attention back to the television.
Some time passes like this. I don't know how much until Nagi eventually sets her knitting down. She stretches, raises her slender arms above her head, then says in a lilting sing-song, My, it's getting late. I must have gotten carried away. Nagi turns to look out the window, as do I. I didn't realize it, being so engrossed in the TV screen and in the sound of Nagi's knitting needles, but the day really has flown by. It was a light azure blue beyond the panes of my window when last I looked, but it's not now. The sky is pitch black. I suppose it's true what they say, time flies when you're having fun. Were you having fun? I would have thought you'd been bored out of your mind sitting with me all day. Can't have been that exciting. Oh no, Ayumu, perish the thought. Being with you is never boring. You're my boyfriend after all, and I love you a lot. How could I ever find your company dull? That was barely any company. We weren't even talking. We don't need to. Being with you is enough to make me happy, silly. Huh. Is that so? If Nagi's telling the truth, then she must have low standards. I don't think there's anything special about me when I'm awake and alert, much less when I'm half asleep. Nagi must have some sort of agenda here. Either that or she's easy to please. I mean, she must have low standards if she's dating me. I wonder which is worse. Now, Nagi stretches and rises. Her black skirt shifts about her thighs and she smooths the fabric down absently beneath her palms. I should probably prepare some dinner for you, dear. You must be starving. I hadn't realized it until Nagi said it, but she's right. That rice porridge I had earlier is all the food I've had today. I should be a lot hungrier than I actually am. Let me see what you have in the fridge. Nagi heads off to the kitchen, her slippered soles impressing themselves almost soundlessly against the floor. I hear the sound of the kitchen door opening, then a faraway rustle of activity. I imagine Nagi standing by the fridge, bathed in its cool, unnatural light. One finger held to her chin and her brow furrowed in thought. What will she find in there? Is there anything to find? I can't remember the last time I went to the store. I'm surprised I had enough ingredients lying around for her to make that rice porridge. A few moments pass before I hear the faint sound of the kitchen door slamming. Nagi must have given up on her search for sustenance, something which becomes readily apparent when she says, after materializing in the doorway, There isn't very much in the fridge, nothing at least I can really use. I think I'm going to have to go to the convenience store. You don't mind waiting a little for your dinner, do you, Yumu? Oh, no, that's fine. It's not like I'm gonna do anything. I haven't taken a look at except figure out what's going on. I haven't taken a look at the inside of my fridge in a while, but I can't imagine Nagi found much more in there beyond maybe a couple eggs, some slices of plasticky cheese, and some expired vegetables. I've been living on cup noodles mostly for the last few months, those and rice crackers. Can't really go wrong with rice crackers, though they don't make for the most nutritious of meals. I'll try not to be too long. I don't like leaving you. You'll be alright on your own, won't you? I'm sure I will. You don't need a fuss. I'm not a child. I know you're not, but sometimes you can be so petulant. Am I being petulant right now? Well, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Promise me you'll stay here, won't you? Be a good boy now. Yeah, I promise. Hey, don't you yeah me, mister. I'm saying this, because I care about you. Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm mad. Nagi's voice is light, but I can sense a threatening undercurrent beneath her words. She sounds very invested in making me stay here, more perhaps than simple concern about my health might dictate. Does she really think I'm that frail? It's not like I'm gonna turn into dust the moment I step outdoors. I'm not a vampire. That's what I'd like to tell her, but something about her expression stops me short. It isn't the sort of expression I want to argue with. Right, I'll stay here. You promise? That's right, I promise. My fingers are crossed. Good, I'll hold you to that. Don't forget it, Ayumu. If you lie, I might just have to make you swallow 1,000 needles. Isn't that a little harsh? No, it's fairly standard punishment, I think, as far as these things go. And in any case, you would deserve it. You might be my wonderful boyfriend, but I won't absolve you of all your crimes. Lying is bad, Ayumu. It's a sin, and lying to a cute girl like me is the biggest sin of all. Huh? Now that's an interesting way of looking at things. Does lying become more grievous an offense the cuter the person being lied to is? I've not heard that one before. So that means you could lie to me because I'm ugly. And it's not an offense. I don't like this double standard. I'll be off now then. Stay safe, darling. I will see you later. But of course, it's not like you're gonna go anywhere. I'll be back before you know it. I watch as Nagi bends to put on her shoes. Her hair falls over her shoulder in the process, brushing her cheek. With her shoes on, she then stands, her pale, slender fingers curling around the door handle. The handle shifts, then the lock clicks, and Nagi steps out into the hallway. The sound of the closing front door echoes through my apartment. It's low and dull, like an audible piece of punctuation. Now that she's gone, I feel...
I'm so relieved that she's gone. Jesus Christ.
In Nagi's absence, I feel that I can finally breathe again. In her company, I found myself forever holding my breath, second-guessing her every remark or movement without being aware that this was what I was doing. Sweet though she might be, I don't feel comfortable around her. I think there's more to her than what she's letting on, but I don't know what that might be. She might call herself my girlfriend, but how can that be? I can't remember spending any time with her before, and regardless of how sick I might be, it seems unlikely that my fever would be strong enough to completely obliterate all of my memories. The things she says aren't mapping onto the things I know. I have no idea how she got into my apartment, nor why she seems to know so much about me, but I don't know if I can trust her. I don't know if I can take that risk. I don't think I want to spend more time with her. What then should I do? Lock the door?
Bolt it shut?
Put stuff in front of it? Should I sit here in bed like a good little boy waiting for her inevitable, invariable return from the shop? Or would I be better served to try and stage an escape?
Getting the heck out of here.
I turn my options over in my head for a few moments before eventually I come to a conclusion. I'm gonna have to leave. Something strange is going on here, from the persistent static of my television to the crying voice which called to me on the telephone. And I want to figure out what it is. I'm not gonna make any headway on that if I do everything Nagi asks of me. She might call herself my nurse, but she's starting to feel eerily like a prison warden. That being the case, I have no choice but to stage a jailbreak. I throw my covers back, which feel a little damp. Ew! I think I must have sweated all over them, gross, and haul myself to my feet. My legs feel weak, but they don't, to my relief, collapse beneath me. They're just about strong enough that I can support myself, strong enough to buoy me from my bedside over to the kitchen. I push the door open, which cleaves to my touch with a creak, then step inside. The moment I cross the threshold of my kitchen, however, pain pierces my temple and I double in on myself. My fingers fly to my forehead and I groan. Ah! Trash! Trash everywhere! What? My vision begins to blur. I blink. I'm not gonna pass out, am I? Is my fever really that bad? For a few moments I see, or I think I see at least, the way my kitchen ought to be. I see a sink piled high with dirty pots and dishes, some of which are cracked. The countertops are covered with crumpled empty soda bottles and aluminum cans. The floor is covered in rubbish, so much so I can scarcely see the fake wooden boards beneath it. Flies hum in the air, suspended on silvery wings which beat back and forth.
She's an insect queen. She's trying to suck me dry.
There are flies in the sink. There are flies in the dustbin, which is overflowing. One of them lands on my forearm and I cry. In alarm. I slap at the fly, but it evades me. It buzzes off, its wings beating back and forth with a droning hum. Dull pain throbs in my arm where I slap myself and in my palm. I must have used more force than I realized. I blink and then... The world has reverted back to the way it was before. The countertops are clean, as is the floor. Everything is impeccably tidy, the plates and cups and dishes all stowed away inside their respective cupboards.
It's funny to think about, because, like, you're hallucinating, but, like, all the shit is all over the floor still, so you're just, like, struggling to walk through it. But you don't know. Can't see it. But through an outside eye, it's like you're making a path through the snow.
My kitchen looks wholly respectable again. It's the sort of kitchen not even the meanest, pettiest of landlords could find fault with. It's a tidy kitchen, indisputably, but it isn't my kitchen. It isn't what I remember. None of this is. The world is warping around me. Why does my head hurt so much? I stagger through the kitchen on uneasy feet, half expecting to step on crumpled PET bottles and strewn packages from convenience store food, and head towards the sink. My fingers, which are white and shaking, grip the edge of the sink for support. With unfocused eyes, I look down. There should be dirty crockery in here, but my expectations are once again betrayed. The sink is more or less empty, apart from the knife Nagi was washing earlier. She must have forgotten it. That was awfully clumsy of her. I eye the knife with some trepidation. I can see my own face reflected in its silvery surface. It almost seems to be goading me into taking it. Maybe I ought to bring it with me just in case. Just in case what? I don't know. I feel so unnerved, however a bit of protection would go a long way. This knife is quite long though, there's no way I'd be able to hide it on me. Maybe there will be a more inconspicuous weapon somewhere else in the kitchen. My eyes dart here and there until eventually I spot a pair of scissors. They're scissors that are used for cutting meat. They're slotted neatly in a circular pot full of similar utensils, wooden spoons, tongs, and the like. These scissors are smaller than the knife, they should be easier to hide. I think they'd probably fit inside my pocket, or if push comes to shove, inside the waistband of my trousers. What should I do? I have to hide it, so I take the scissors. Taking the scissors might be my best bet after all. I can't let her know that I have a knife. I can't let her know that I am strapped. I should be able to conceal them fairly easily, and the blade should still be sharp enough if push comes to shove to defend myself. I'm hoping it won't come to that, of course, but it never hurts to be prepared. I'm just taking the precautions necessary against an unknown enemy. That doesn't mean I'll actually use these scissors, though. I hope I don't have to. It's with shaking fingers that I reach for the scissors, which lie in their pot, innocent and unassuming in their state of disuse on the kitchen counter. I clasp them, claim them, and slide them into my pocket. I can feel the blades impressing themselves against my thigh, even through the fabric of my trousers. They're cold and unforgiving, as weapons tend to be designed for no purpose beyond cutting. With some luck, they should be able to cut my connection with Nagi too. My decision made, I turn on my heels and approach the front door. I fully expect it to be locked. Why should anything in my attempt to escape be easy? But to my surprise, the handle twists easily enough beneath my fingers. The lock clicks and then the door, rather anticlimactically, opens inward. I sigh, expelling a warm, feverish breath into the cool air. That was quite the surprise, but I'm not sure if it's wholly pleasant. If the door had refused to budge, that would have given me an excuse to give up on my attempted escape. I wouldn't have to take my future into my own hands. It sounds like quite a tempting thought, actually, surrendering myself to the votive hands of my sweet, doting girlfriend. But no, I can't let myself think like that. The door's open despite all the odds. That must be a sign of something, surely. It means I shouldn't stay here. Oh, we're almost at 100! It's time to face reality. Thoughts like this swirl through my mind as I stand there in the threshold of my door, looking out into the hallway. The hallway is dark, save for the strip lighting on the ceiling. These lights flicker ominously on and off. I can't see any windows. I don't know what the outside looks like. It's just one long, endless hallway, beige walls and a brown floor. Fluorescent lights. The lights are too bright, my eyes are starting to hurt. My head hurts too. Retreating would be much, much easier, but I know if I did that, I would never be able to forgive myself. I squeeze my eyes shut in an attempt to steady myself. I inhale. Then I step into the hallway. The door of my apartment swings shut behind me with a dull thud, one that seems almost
apocryphal.
Apocryphal? Of a story or statement of doubtful authenticity, although widely circulated as being true. There will be no turning back now. I pad down the hallway slowly, softly, my footsteps shy and shuffling. I'm grimly aware with every step I take that Nagi might return, might catch me trying to abscond. I look around anxiously as I walk. Doors pass me by, door after door after door, but they're all shut. The handles affixed to these doors look oddly sinister in the dark, and the lights, which keep guttering on and off. They protrude from the smooth wooden surfaces of the doors like something violent. The light catches on these door handles, dozens and dozens of them stretching on for infinity, and I shiver. It feels like the hallway's choking me. Where are the stairs? How am I supposed to escape? Maybe I was a fool to disobey Nagi. I shouldn't have ignored her. She told me to stay inside for a reason. Now I'm starting to think that maybe this was the reason. She told me not to leave because I can't leave. It isn't an option. I want to turn back, but I don't. Instead, I continue to walk. Oh, we're almost there! I walk, and I walk, and I walk until the backs of my feet rub against my shoes and it starts to hurt. My heart is hammering in my chest. I can hear it reverberating inside my skull. That doesn't stop me from moving, though. I keep on walking. I walk and walk and walk and walk and walk, and the backs of my feet are still rubbing against my shoes. It still hurts. My heart is hammering in my chest. I can hear it reverberating inside my skull. That doesn't stop me from moving, though. Ah! I continue to walk. And I walk, 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 and the backs of my feet are really rubbing against my shoes now. It hurts a lot. My heart is hammering in my chest. I can hear it reverberating inside my skull. I still don't stop, though. I continue to walk. I walk and 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 I walk. I reach what seems to be a bend in the hallway. There's something different at long last. I must be making progress. I hurry onwards, hoping to find the stairs, to find a lift, to find something to help me escape from this nightmare. But like all nightmares, my attempts of escape are soon halted. I suppose I should have expected it. I think part of me did. I was just waiting for it. Oh god! She's here. She's come to greet me. Her irises are cold and hard, like two stones pressed into her skin, and her lips are pursed into a line which betrays not even the slightest flicker of emotion. In one hand, she's holding a shopping basket, a cheap plastic thing, from which the Y-shaped head of a green onion protrudes. It's such a cliche, I could laugh. Nagi. I inhale. What are you doing here? Might be a more apt question, but it'd be a pointless one. I know what she's doing here. She's come to stop me from leaving. As for what her motives are, however... You have to ask? Nagi's voice, when it comes, is every bit as cold and hard as her expression, devoid of the cheery lilt to which I've grown so accustomed. I'm your girlfriend, Ayumu. I love you more than anybody else in the whole world, but right now, I think I hate you more than anybody else in the whole world, too. Nagi delivers this without any emotion whatsoever. Her love and her hate are wholly dispassionate. She might as well be talking about the weather. You shouldn't be out here. I told you not to leave. I made you promise. You said you would stay put. Why didn't you? Do you want to upset me? No, that isn't... Then what is it? There wasn't any particular reason, really. I just wanted some fresh air. It's an excuse, of course, and a blatantly obvious one at that. It's almost laughable, in fact, given how dark and featureless this hallway is, how utterly devoid of windows. This is a place that seems sealed off from the outside world. There's no fresh air to be had here. It's all shut up and stagnant. What a fool I am. Nagi takes a step forward. Her hair shifts about her shoulders. Her eyes bore into mine as quietly, she says, I don't believe you. Nagi, please. I think you're lying to me, and that's one thing I simply cannot forgive. You've upset me, Ayumu. You've been a very, very bad boy, and bad boys deserve to be punished. Nagi, wait, can't we talk about this? I cry at Nagi, but to little avail. I don't think she's listening to me anymore, if she ever was. Did she ever care what I wanted? Nagi's face is masked-like. Her eyes are blank and staring, two cutouts in her white, featureless face. Her grip on the carrier bag slackens. The bag hits the floor with a dull, almost anticlimactic thud, and then she steps towards me. You promised me you wouldn't leave, Ayumu. You promised. How could you lie to a cute girl like me? How could you? Nagi. I say her name, but it feels like a pointless gesture. I don't think she can be reasoned with. Discourse was never an option. I have no choice, really, but to run. I don't know what it is exactly that Nagi means to do to me, but I don't want to stay and find out. It's with a desperate gasp that I turn on my heels, almost stumbling in the process. Nagi isn't moving very quickly, but she's almost upon me already. How is that possible? Everything seems to be possible here. Reality's contracting about itself, it's compressing. My world is shrinking. My world is this apartment, and the apartment is under Nagi's control. Does that make Nagi the world? What am I then? Can I really escape from her? I don't know, but I have to try. I run through hallway after hallway, pain knifing between my ribs all the while. The walls around me are morphing, they're melting. Wallpaper flakes off and strips around me as though the apartment is peeling itself like a giant apple. The light fixtures above me blink, they gutter. The world is plunged into darkness before illuminating itself brightly, too brightly. I blink. White spots burst in front of my vision like fungi. The hallway is undulating. The world is pulsating. It changes so much with every single step I feel dizzy. It's hard to maintain my balance, especially with Nagi pursuing me. Is she gaining on me? I swear I can feel breath upon the back of my neck, but I know I can't stop to check. I can't turn around. I dash through beige hallways and blue hallways, garnish orange hallways and high-ceilinged hallways. The hallways are all devoid of windows. They twist and they turn like plastered, papered, painted rabbit warrens. I can't hear much beyond the sounds of my own footsteps, beyond my own heart beating. There's a faint sound in the background like running water and omniscient, ever-present hum. Flies? My kitchen was full of them. They hovered about the black rubbish bags which lay decaying upon the floor. I didn't bother to throw the bags away. I didn't try to get rid of the flies. It felt like a pointless endeavor. I endured them instead. I've been enduring a lot recently, but I can't keep doing that. I need to escape. I have no idea how long I've been running. These hallways seem to stretch on forever. I can't make any sense out of them. My mind seems to have shrunken during my desperate flight to the size of a walnut. Can't fit any thoughts into my head. They're leaking out of me. I'm coming undone. Still, Nagi continues to pursue me. I don't think she'll ever stop. It doesn't matter how fast I run, she'll find me again. Why wouldn't she? She's my girlfriend after all. She loves me. But why? It's with this question in mind that I finally escape from the maze of hallways which trap me among them. I descend a flight of stairs, the soles of my shoes slapping against every step, then emerge into a large, empty space with beige walls and a carpeted floor. I recognize this room. This is the entrance of my apartment building. I need only approach those glass doors at the end and I'll be able to escape. This is my plan, at least. That is my plan, at least, but my jubilation soon runs dry when I approach the exit. The doors are glass and should therefore be transparent, but I can't see anything beyond them. I can't see the street. I can't see the road. I can't even see the sky. Where did the rest of the world go? I approach the doors. They ought to be automatic, but they don't move. Instead, they remain stubbornly shut. Well, shit. So much for that plan. Hey, Ayumu? I can hear Nagi's footsteps behind me, descending the stairs. Her pace is as slow as ever and unhurried. Now I know why she didn't bother running. She knew I wouldn't be able to escape from her. She knew there was nowhere for me to go. What do you think you're doing? Didn't I tell you it was pointless? I open my mouth, but I can't say much more than that. My saliva tastes like ashes on my tongue and my stomach churns. You don't need to reply to me, don't bother. I don't want to hear more of your lies. Nagi continues to advance on me, her arm swinging limply beside her. It hurts me, you know, when you run away from me like this. Can't you understand that? Thud, thud, thud. Go Nagi's footsteps. Even they sound unforgiving. She's relentless. Let's stop playing silly games. Come back upstairs with me. Let me put you to bed. What were you hoping to gain anyway by coming down here? Didn't you give up on the outside world already? You must have, otherwise you never would have been able to meet me. Something about what Nagi just said strikes a chord within me. It feels like I've been drifting ever since I woke up, but something has clicked into place. I can remember what happened. First, there was the pain. When it hit me, it was intense, so much so I felt like vomiting. For a while, pain was all I knew. It was all my body was. There was a loud squeal of tires on tarmac and the pitter-patter of rain which fell on the damp, glossy road. The smell of oil in the air and prismatic colors reflected in the puddles scattered about me. There was blood, too, an awful lot of it. I hadn't known I had quite so much blood inside me. My temple was cut, my body crumpled, I could hardly breathe. I didn't want to breathe. People around me were shouting, screaming. Pedestrians clustered about me, stepping through puddles, splashing icy droplets of water about in their wake. Somebody probably called an ambulance. I don't remember that, though. This is where everything starts to get hazy. My consciousness began to unravel. Then I passed out. When I finally woke up hours or days or weeks or months or centuries later, I was here in this vicinity of my apartment with Nagi sitting next to me. She said she was my girlfriend. I doubt that, though. I've never had a girlfriend before, and now I'll never get the chance. I was hit by a car. I should be dead. What's going on? You couldn't handle the real world, Ayumu. It was too much for you. There was a lot of pressure on you to perform from your parents and from your professors and from yourself. It all became too much. You're delicate, so you got scared. You were afraid you would break. So you decided to run away from it all. No. Yes, you did. You know you did. You know what you are. Nagi takes another step forward until her nose is almost brushing mine. She reaches out. You're a coward. Then her white, slender fingers seize my neck. Reality distorts the moment she touches me. Static comes inside my skull. My head feels like it's going to split apart. My body, sapped of all strength, lists to one side. My head hits the carpeted floor with a thud just like it did on the roadside, and stars explode behind my eyelids. I blink. I don't know how much time has passed, but when I finally come to, I see that Nagi's sitting on top of me. She's pinning me in place against the threadbare carpet, her thighs cinching my body in place upon the floor. The fingers of both her hands are wound about my throat, and her eyes are trained upon mine.
The grasp she has on my neck is painful, but I think the soulless, empty look in those wide, tunnel-like eyes of hers is even more so. I can't writhe away from her. I can't escape from her. She has me immobilized so effectively she might as well have driven nails into my palms.
Just give it up, Ayumu.
Nagi speaks calmly despite the violence of her actions. She sounds hollow, empty.
People like you can't survive in the real world. You weren't made for it. You're too sensitive. Every failure felt like a knife to your throat, and every single setback made you want to cry.
Nagi's fingernails bite into my skin. It hurts.
You kept picking yourself up as best you could, but eventually enough was enough. You're weak, like I said, so your enough came before most people's would. You couldn't keep going.
Nagi's eyes are so big I feel like I could drown in them.
But there's no shame in that. You already recognize your limitations, that's why you did what you did. I don't need to tell you about your failures. You know about them already.
Nagi's long fair hair is brushing my cheek. It tickles. Why are you doing this?
You should know that already. My answer is the same as it's always been. I'm doing this for your sake.
Mine?
Yes, yours. I think you'll be happier this way. And deep down, I know that you think the same. Otherwise, you never would have stepped out into that busy road. Isn't this what you wanted?
Is it what I wanted? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think I want to remember. My thoughts are all a blur, but Nagi's words have jostled something in my memory. She said I walked into the road. It can't have been an accident then. It was something I did on purpose, and that isn't something a happy, well-adjusted person does. I haven't been happy or well-adjusted in a long, long time. I was trying to forget about that. I wanted to forget about it, but it's all coming back to me. I can remember what I did. I remember who I am. I'm Sato Ayumu, a second-year student at a small, relatively unimpressive university in Tokyo. I've always been quiet, so I've never been very good at making friends. I didn't have any friends, in fact, at university. My first year was lonely, but I still attended my lectures. I still got my essays done, and I completed my end-of-year exams. I did what was expected of me, and when my parents called me, which they often did, to check up on me, I told them everything was fine. I said I'd been having fun, but that was a lie. I was tired and stressed and overwhelmed more often than not, and I was sad with it because everybody else seemed to be enjoying themselves, but I wasn't. I didn't know how to enjoy myself. I was part way into my second year that I gave up on everything. Going to my lectures stopped feeling like a worthwhile endeavor. It didn't make me happy. I don't think anything would have cheered me beyond human interaction, but that was impossible. I was too awkward. I didn't know what to do, so I retreated in on myself. I shut myself away inside my apartment because that was easier than going outdoors. It was easier than making an effort to change. I didn't take out the rubbish so it overflowed. I didn't clean up my apartment so it started to stink. I opened the windows during the summer when it was so hot and muggy I felt like I was melting simply lying down in bed, but that let the flies in. I rarely brushed my teeth, barely showered, and hardly ever changed my clothes. There wasn't anything I wanted to do, so I didn't do anything. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't speak to anybody. I just lay in bed for days on end, scrolling through the internet on my phone, or on my laptop and reading through some of my favorite light novel series. I had no plans, obligations, or responsibilities. This absence of external stimuli should have cheered me up. And for a few days it did. The knot of anxiety, which had been my near constant companion throughout my time at university, began to lessen. Finally, it felt for the first time in a long while I could breathe. But the air when I breathed it in stank of rancid food and my own unwashed body. My eyes began to sting and my head pounded. I got headaches all the time back then. It was because of the smell. It was putrid. I was surprised the people living in the apartments across the hall didn't complain about me. In time, my abundance of time began to feel more like a curse than a blessing. There were too many hours in the day and I didn't know how to fill them. Without lectures or essays to worry about, I had no idea what I was supposed to do with myself until I reread Tsuchimi Ryui's, I'm just butchering this name, man, Elf Forest. That was when I hit upon the idea of writing a story of my own, a story set in a fantasy universe bearing some similarities to Elf Forest, but of my own devising. I had the idea for Crimson Fantasia for a while. I toyed with the idea of writing it, but always managed to talk myself out of it. I thought it'd be a repeat of my time spent trying to blend in with everybody else at university, that my best efforts would all be in vain. Nobody cared about me during the day-to-day in the real world. Why would anybody care about my stories either? Telling it seemed pointless, but I had so much time I had to do something with it. I suppose that's why I started to write Crimson Fantasia. I didn't have anything better to do.
I wrote and I wrote and I wrote like a man possessed, and I soon realized once I began that writing was a pretty fun way to while away the hours. It made the days pass by more quickly, and it gave me a real sense of purpose. I'd hammered out most of the details about Crimson Fantasia's plot and characters already, so I didn't hit any major stumbling blocks. I didn't have to scramble to think up ideas, and I didn't have to sit there agonizing while I wondered where the story should go. I already knew most of that. I just needed to get the story out of my head and onto my laptop in a format other people could experience. I wanted other people to experience Crimson Fantasia too. I'd put enough effort into it, so much so keeping it to myself would seem like a waste. I repurposed this old blog I had ages ago back during high school into a place to upload Crimson Fantasia. I uploaded my story chapter by chapter, sometimes updating thrice weekly, and I waited, my breath bated, to see what sort of responses I'd get. I wasn't expecting miracles, of course. I didn't genuinely think, despite my daydreams, that Crimson Fantasia would attain the same level of critical commercial success as Elf Forest. Who was I in comparison to Tsuchimi Ryui? Nobody really. I was just a university dropout with an overactive imagination. I told myself when I first began to share Crimson Fantasia that I'd be happy if only 1 or 2 people read it. They didn't even need to leave any comments on it. I just wanted to know that my story was out there in the world, that a few people knew it existed and liked it. That would legitimize my efforts. That would prove that writing it wasn't a waste of time after all. My desires were fairly humble, or so I thought, and within the first few days of posting Crimson Fantasia's first chapter to my old blog, they were actually exceeded. Crimson Fantasia's first chapter was viewed 42 times, and it received comments, 3 of them in fact. Can't remember 2 of these 3 comments. They were vague words of support, very brief and perfunctory, but I remember the 3rd. I'll never forget it. That was the first comment I ever received from Nagiko. Her feedback, I've always thought of Nagiko as a girl, was far more in depth than that which the other 2 commenters had left. She typed up several paragraphs exploring her feelings toward the story, its setting, and its characters. She praised the oppressive atmosphere of the story and how much detail I had gone into when rendering Haru's personality. Nagiko said that she thought Haru was a pitiable sort of character, but she found him compelling. She promised me she would be waiting for the future chapters eagerly because she couldn't wait to see how Haru would develop. She wanted him to use his second lease of life to become stronger, and she wanted him to be happy too. Naturally, I was elated that my story had prompted such an emotional response from one of its readers, and such a lengthy one at that. I thought about that review for days afterwards. Whenever it crossed my mind, I smiled. Relatable. It was Nagiko's early support that encouraged me to keep working on Crimson Fantasia. I reworked the earlier chapters which I had yet to publish, polishing and polishing until they shone. I began to make some changes too to the latter chapters to place more of a focus back on Haru's struggles as he traversed the world of Grimoire. I posted new chapters semi-regularly, and Nagiko commented on all of them. Sometimes it took her a day or 2 to leave me a mini review, but she always did it. She was as reliable as clockwork. She gave me regular feedback for months on end, 2 months on end, in fact, during which I uploaded almost 50 chapters of my sprawling magnum opus. I didn't do anything during these months beyond writing Crimson Fantasia. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, fueled by Nagiko's praise. But this idyllic period didn't last forever. These things never do. It was on chapter 53 of Crimson Fantasia that Nagiko stopped leaving me feedback. 1 day passed, and 2, then 3, and still Nagiko said nothing about the newest chapter. My parasocial connection. Well, I tried to tell myself these things happen, maybe she's busy. I didn't know a thing about Nagiko's life, but I knew she did have one beyond Crimson Fantasia. She could have been working night shifts, she could have been studying for exams, she could have been on holiday. Told myself to be patient, and I waited. A week passed, 2 weeks. Eventually a month passed, but Nagiko still did not leave a comment on chapter 53 of Crimson Fantasia. I'd written more chapters in the interim and published them, but Nagiko did not give me feedback on any of these either. Neither did anybody else. I had put a huge amount of effort into rendering the world of Crimson Fantasia, but nobody else seemed to care, not even Nagiko. For 3 months of my life, I had done nothing but work on Crimson Fantasia, and to what end? It had been forgotten. Nagiko had stopped caring about Grimoire and about Haru and about his adventures. She had been my most ardent, steadfast supporter, drifted away from my world and from me. And I think that realization is what broke me. I stopped caring about my characters, I stopped caring about my story, I stopped caring about myself too, which is probably why I did it. I stepped out into the middle of the road just like Haru in the first chapter of Crimson Fantasia, and also like Haru, it was not a mistake. My actions were cold and calculated. I probably caused the driver of the car who hit me untold trauma, but I didn't care about them. I was only thinking about myself. I just wanted to escape.
I wanted.
You wanted to be happy, right? Well, you can forget about that. You'll never be happy in the real world. People are thoughtless and selfish, and they only ever think about themselves. They don't know how hard life is for you. And even if they did, they wouldn't care. Nagiko didn't care, but I do. I'm better than she is. That's why you should stay here.
Nagi's fingers are gripping my throat tightly enough to burn, but her hair is, by contrast, very soft like a lover's embrace. This is how I die. For reals this time. She said that she loved me, but I still have my doubts. What is that love based on? After all, you're not Nagiko then.
I'm not, no. You never did pluck up the courage to speak to her, though you really, really wanted to. You did fantasize about it a lot, though. You wanted to talk to her, didn't you? You wanted her to be a pretty, homey girl who would support you, not just with your writing, but with the rest of your life. You wanted her to cook for you and to clean for you. You didn't want her to leave you. You thought with every message that she sent you that she might one day fall in love with you. And that's why you created me. Aren't I your ideal woman? Isn't this what you want?
I open my mouth, perhaps meaning to counter, but Nagi interrupts me.
Don't try to argue with me, please. It's a waste of your breath. And that is a precious resource you can't really afford to waste. I know what it is you want. I know everything that you think. You can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to me.
What? Then that means... I stare at Nagi with such intensity. My eyes threaten to escape their sockets. I can't see my own face, which is probably a blessing, but I wouldn't be surprised if my skin's turning blue. It's hard to breathe, but I still try. I need to know before I succumb to Nagi's aggressive affection what exactly she is. Is any of this real?
That depends on your definition of the word. I'm sure it feels real enough at the moment, but your judgment might not be the best. You did lose a lot of blood. Your thoughts might be all jumbled. I'm sure this has all been very confusing for you ever since you woke up. I know this world isn't quite the same as the one you're used to.
Nagi's fingers are still wrapped around my throat. She hasn't relented at all. If anything, I think she might be squeezing me even harder. Is she trying to prove her love to me? If so, her love's pretty intense.
But if this is a dream, why fight against it? Reality's no good. That's why you started writing your stories. You couldn't cope with the world, so you had to retreat into your own.
God, this is too real, man.
You couldn't control your own life, but you could control the lives of your characters. You never had to feel anxious or unsure when you were writing because it was all predictable. You planned everything out. You were content with that for a while, but in the end you got greedy. You wanted more than a made-up happiness. You wanted somebody to love you. You tried to endure your loneliness as best you could, but everybody has a breaking point. You couldn't keep going.
Please make it stop.
So you tried to put an end to it.
It hurts too much. You tried. I can't keep enduring this.
But you failed. You made a mess of things just like you make a mess of everything.
Nagi, please.
But that's alright. I still love you no matter how much you screw up. I love you no matter how pathetic and pitiful you are. I'll love you while you're still clinging to life, and I'll love you even after you've died. I'll always love you, Ayumu, like nobody else can. I don't have any choice in the matter. I was born to be in love with you.
It hurts so much. I thought I'd already died once, so why?
So why don't you let me do that? Stay with me, Ayumu. I'll take good care of you. Nothing will ever, ever hurt you again. All you need to do is obey me. Don't fight me. You don't want to break my heart, do you?
Nagi. My vision is beginning to blur. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It hurts. But Nagi said she was going to take care of me. If I agree to stay with her, will she let go of me? Will she make the pain go away? I don't want to hurt anymore. I'm tired of hurting. I've been hurting for such a long time and nobody noticed. Nobody cared. Nobody but Nagi. I can't abandon her, can I? Stab her. I've been waiting so long. Giving in to Nagi's demands would be the easy option, but I don't think it's the right option. I've been doing what's easy for the last few months, and it hasn't made me happy. If anything, it's only succeeded to make me feel even more miserable. I thought I'd be better if I kept away from people, but I'm starting to doubt that. I don't want to stay indoors anymore, hiding from the world. I don't want to run away from reality. I thought I was ready to throw my life away. I was wrong. I don't want to die. I don't want to disappear. There's still a lot I want to do. I want to tell my parents how much I appreciate them. I want to dry my mother's tears. I want to write more words too, even if nobody's there to read them, not even Nagiko. She might have lost interest in Crimson Fantasia, but I haven't. I don't want to betray my dreams. I don't want to betray my characters. I have to keep struggling just like Haru.
And it's this thought which spurs me to take an action quite unlike any Haru would ever take. He's a gentleman, so he would never hurt a girl, but I have no such compunctions with Nagi, not with her fingers wound around my throat. If she's not going to play nice, I won't either. It's not like it matters that much anyway. Nagi isn't real. I made her up. She's a construct, just like Haru and Eris and Harmonia, and I've put them through a lot worse. I made them suffer horribly for the sake of Crimson Fantasia's story. I can do the same thing with Nagi. I won't let her stop me. My fingers creeps surreptitiously to my pocket where my scissors are stashed. My eyes narrow with determination, and then... Ayumu, what are you? I strike. Ah! I pull the scissors from my pocket as quickly as I'm able and thrust them upwards. The scissors plunge into Nagi's cheek, and like a banshee, she shrieks. Nagi stumbles back, one hand clasped over her face. Damn, went for the face? That's crazy. Nagi's shoulders are convulsing, red sticky blood is seeping between her splayed fingers. It drips against the carpeted floor like falling rain. Drip, drip, drip. Nagi's fingers are slick with the stuff. It might as well be strawberry jam. Her face, however, is ghostly white, the same color as flour. Her chest rises and falls erratically beneath her blouse. Aghast, she glowers at me and says, "You'll regret this, Ayumu. How could you? How could you?" I only did what I have to. My voice is remarkably calm despite the adrenaline that's coursing through my body. I wipe my scissors down my shirt, then get to my feet. Damn. That's killer behavior. I look down at Nagi, who's slumped on the ground, still bleeding, and say, "Don't act like you wouldn't have done the same to me. You were trying to choke me." "I was trying to help you." "Yeah, I know. That's what you thought. But staying here isn't helpful. I'll never get anything done like this." "You hypocrite. You were the one who shut yourself away here in the first place. This was what you wanted." "I wanted to make your dreams come true. Everything I did for your sake, and this is how you repay me? How could you?" I'm horribly heartless, I know, but I still don't think I owe you anything. I mean, you're not really my girlfriend, are you? You're just a phantom I created. Nagi might have taken on the form of a cute girl, but she's nothing more than a shadow. She's my shadow. Sorry, I know you meant well, but this... I look around the apartment foyer at the flickering lights and the flashing exit sign. This isn't what I want anymore. I may have given up on my goals, my ambitions, and even my stories, but the real Nagiko is still out there. She told me she wanted to read the rest of Crimson Fantasia, so I can't disappoint her. I want to give it a satisfying conclusion for her sake. But she doesn't care about you, Ayumu. Not like I do. She abandoned you. Maybe she did. It's alright, though. I don't need her approval to keep writing. I don't need anybody's approval. I still want to keep going. I want to finish what I started, at the very least, and that means I can't let things end here. So you're gonna go back? You're going to subject yourself to being alone and to being miserable in a world you can't stand to finish off some stupid story but nobody else cared about? I care! I care about it! I do what I want. Yeah, I guess I am. I'll suffer through it, and I'll get it done, and then I could die happy. I guess it sounds a little silly when you phrase it like that, but it's not true, you know, that nobody cares about Crimson Fantasia. Nagiko doesn't. Maybe she doesn't. I do, though. I'm not so jaded that I've given up, even if you have. I want to see how my story ends. It would be a waste not to. I let my scissors drop to the floor, then glance about. I'm breathing heavily, more so than I have in a long time. It's been a while since I exerted myself like that. It's been a while since I exerted myself in general. I don't often leave my apartment. Is that why I found myself trapped here in my half-formed, embryonic dreamland? I came over the last few months to associate my apartment with safety. Nobody ever came to visit me, and nobody called me, apart from my parents, and even then that was sparingly. I didn't have to answer to anybody other than myself, and I never held myself accountable for my actions. I didn't want to. I couldn't stand the outside world like Nagi, so...
Succinctly.
What the hell? Succinctly said, so I hid from it. By sitting in the same spot and moving, I was, in essence, running away. I'm tired of running now, though. I've spent too long in this apartment already in the real world. I don't want to be stuck in my dreams, too, not with Nagi, who's still bleeding on the floor. Her perforated cheek is still oozing blood which changes colors with the flickering of the lights overhead. Sometimes her blood looks black. At other times, it looks bright red. Her lips, meanwhile, are pursed like a princess's from a fairy tale. She looks like she's waiting for a kiss. I know if I bent down to grant her request, I might be able to take all of her pain away. I'm sure that she would forgive me for hurting her. She has no choice in the matter. I'm the one who created her. She is my delusion, just like Eris and Harmonia. She exists to love me, which is, I suppose, a nice enough fantasy. Can't say I dislike the thought of being doted on by a pretty young girl like Nagi forever and ever. But would it really be satisfying when her love isn't real? This is a daydream I could do without. It's finally time to wake up. Oh my god. So I think that's just one ending. I'm not sure if there's other endings, because we also have the knife and then not taking anything. So not taking anything, we're probably just gonna die, and I don't know if the knife is gonna change. And then we have to go back for just accepting everything, because why not? I do have to take a break though, because my throat is starting to hurt. So I'll see you in a second.
I had to delete the save. So we have to start from the beginning. Ah, boy. So I'm not sure if the knife is gonna change anything. It's probably gonna change, like, the way we kill her. But I don't know if that's gonna change anything for us personally. The knife would probably be my best bet. Its blade is longer than the twin ones that the scissors possess, and it's sharper. If Nagi should try to hurt me, not, of course, that I hope she will, then a knife should help me fight back. I've never stabbed anybody before, but how hard could it be? She's not even real, so it doesn't even matter. I'm hoping it'll be fairly self-explanatory. My decision made, I turn on my heels and approach the front door. Okay, that's good. It still remembers what we've been through for dialogue.
If fresh air was all you're after, then why did you take that knife with you?
I gasp as though surprised at my own actions. Whoa, where did this come from? Which admittedly I am in part. I hadn't forgotten about the knife per se, but I had forgotten what its intended purpose was. I took it from the kitchen as a means of self-protection. I meant to use it to, what? Debilitate Nagi if she should try to stop me? Did I seriously mean to stab her? Yes. Can I really do that? Yes.
You shouldn't be walking around with that, Ayumu. You'll hurt yourself or someone else. Give it to me, please.
Nagi's voice is commanding like a schoolteacher's. She doesn't sound angry, but she doesn't sound like much of anything else either. Her voice is a void, just like her face, and this somehow is even more chilling than anger would be. At least I'd know how to react to that. At least it would make her feel more human. No. I take an anxious step back, the knife's handle clutched in my shaking hands. Don't come near me! I can't give it to you. You can't. Nagi's eyes narrow. Or you won't. Nagi, what do you mean to do with it?
I'm going to make dinner, silly. It would be a shame to let all these ingredients go to waste when I went out to buy them, and you need something to eat, Ayumu. That's why you're acting out like this. You're hungry. It has addled you. Now give me that knife. I won't say anything more about it, or about what you might have been planning if you promise you'll be a good boy from now on. Won't you let me look after you? I look at Nagi worriedly, my eyeballs pulsating inside my skull. Is she offering me a choice? What should I do? Let Nagi look after you, reject Nagi. Oh man. And then we make another path. Reject. Look after. At least we can skip stuff, so it's fine. Never! No! I try to sound firm, but my voice is wavering to an embarrassing degree. The words are too big for my throat, and I choke on them. I won't let you look after me. How can I when I don't even know who you are? What do you want from me? Stalker! I just want to take care of you.
I don't believe you. You called me a liar, but I don't think you've ever once been honest to me. Who are you, anyway?
I already told you who I am. Or who you wish I was in any case. Isn't that more or less the same thing?
No, it's not. I can't accept that. I can't accept you. I never asked you to look after me. I never asked for any of this. Just leave me alone. Let me go.
Let you go?
Nagi takes another step towards me. The plastic carrier bag she's still gripping shifts and rustles against her thigh.
I'm sorry, Ayumu, but I can't do that.
Why not?
Because there's nowhere to let you go to. You can't leave. Why else do you think you've been walking for so long? This world won't allow it.
No, that can't be true. That's insane.
It is, though. Just accept it. You'll be happier that way. Now give me the knife. Leave me alone! Give it to me now. Otherwise you'll be sorry. I'm sorry already. I'm sorry any of this happened. I'm sorry I ever met you. Just leave me alone. I unstick my soles from the ground, which seemed during the last few minutes to have rooted themselves to the carpet, then dash forward, as best I can. I draw back my right hand, meaning to strike a blow against Nagi. I mean to plunge the blade of this knife inside her chest, where her cold, unfeeling heart beats. Oh dear, well, don't say I didn't warn you. But my best attempts are still in vain. Nagi is too quick for me. She shifts to one side, avoiding the blade with ease, and drops her shopping bag to the ground.
Damn. That's crazy.
The plastic crinkles, the green-tipped spring onion hits the floor, though the sound of its descent is muffled by the carpet. If Nagi did have any eggs in that bag, a couple of them probably cracked from the force of impact. Not, I suppose, that this matters. I have more important issues to worry about beyond cracked eggs or even spilled milk. Oh fuck. Nagi, you... I press my fingers to my stomach. They're shaking. When I move my hand away, I can see through dazed and half-lidded eyes that my palm is stained a bright garish red. There's something embedded inside me, something sharp, which makes my innards twist, quite literally, with every inhale. I underestimated Nagi. I didn't know her reflexes were so swift. I didn't know she was so strong. I didn't think she'd be able to overpower me so easily. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Ugh. I slump to the ground. My knees hit the carpet in perfect synchrony with one single muffled thud. I can't breathe. It hurts more than I thought it would. It hurts more than I can endure. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Oh, Ayumu. Nagi stands above me. She looks unmoved by my suffering. You really are a silly boy. You have no idea what's good for you. This all could have been avoided if only you'd listened to me. But it isn't too late for you. We can try this again. This is your dream after all. We can repeat this as many times as you want, as many times as it takes. You just need to learn to accept me. Why don't we give that a try? I really do want the best for you, you know. Nagi kneels in front of me. Gently, she reaches out, then cups my face with both her hands. I can feel her fingers against my clammy cheeks. They're nice and cool, and I sigh against her touch. Her close proximity almost serves to offset the pain of the knife's blade. And I really do love you. It hurts so much I feel like I'm gonna throw up. The carpet is splattered with blood. The front of my shirt and my fingers are deluged in the stuff. I love you when you're working hard to pursue your passions. My chest feels tight. But I love you when you've given up on everything too, and you just want to cry. I'm still bleeding. Will it ever stop? I love you when you're lying in bed and you're too sick to stand up. My vision is starting to blur. And I love you when you're slumped on the ground in a puddle of your own blood. I can't feel the tips of my own fingers. I love the hardworking, industrious Ayumu, but I also love the scared, shy, awkward, anxious, pathetic Ayumu. I'm going numb. I love all of you. My body lists forward, but that's alright. I'm not alone. Nagi's here to catch me. She won't leave me. She told me that she wouldn't. I might be an awful liar, but... And I'm never going to let you go. She, at least, always keeps her word. I promise. I'm probably getting the front of Nagi's blouse bloody, but she doesn't seem to mind that. She continues to cradle me, her fingers pressed against the arch of my spine like I'm an overgrown baby as I twitch. I tremble. Then a miracle happens. My vision turns black. My lungs spasm in one last desperate gasp, until finally I'm free. I thought it would be scary, which is why I trembled so much, but I think I'm getting used to it now. It's really not that bad not existing. There are worse things you can do than disappear. I open my eyes slowly, groggily, and glance upwards. Let Nagi look after you. I guess I don't have much of a choice. There's no way I'll be able to fight Nagi off. I might be holding a knife, but it's functionally useless. Can't use this against her. I can't hurt her. How can I when she loves me so much? She must love me, otherwise she wouldn't be so determined for me to stay here by her side. I've never in all of my 20 years had a woman care about me quite this much. A woman who wasn't my mother, I mean. I used to dream about having a girlfriend, but these dreams never materialized. I thought I was destined to be alone forever. But that was before I met Nagi. Now that I have a girlfriend, why would I try to escape from her? Wouldn't I be better off succumbing? Besides, I am pretty hungry. I'm starving.
Alright. It's on shaking legs that I approach Nagi, then hand her the knife. I don't want to upset you more than I already have, so I'll go back with you. I'll lie down in bed like a good boy and you can make us dinner. We'll forget all of this ever happened. If you think you can forgive me, that is.
No way, Yumu.
Nagi's face, which was once coolly impassive, now shifts. A gentle smile spreads across her lips. A smile as gentle as a field of sunflowers as she accepts my knife with her free hand.
Of course I can forgive you. That's a simple enough matter. I do love you after all. And my love is even wider than the ocean.
Is it now? That's rather impressive.
Well, of course, I am a magical girl, remember? I'm not strong enough to save the whole world, but I am strong enough to save you. I can save you from your own sadness. I can save you from yourself. I can save you from the miserable world you used to live in, which never once recognized your genius. So long as you're willing to stay with me. You won't try to run again, will you?
I won't. You have my word.
I like to take that at face value. But you said that the last time when I left for the store to buy groceries. What makes this time any different?
It's different because I don't see the point in it, not anymore. It's true that I thought about escaping, but I can see now that there's nowhere to escape. I was walking down this hallway for ages, but it kept repeating itself. I don't think I'm any closer to finding the exit than I was when I left. Maybe there isn't one. It's like the whole world is telling me this is a waste of time. So I'm not gonna bother anymore. I'd rather stay with you. At least you make sense.
Well, I do my best. I'm glad to hear that at least. I was starting to worry you'd lost all sense of reason. I didn't want to have to punish you. So it's a relief you were able to make such a sensible decision on your own. Good job, Ayumu. You're really growing up. I'd pat you on the head if I could, but since my hands are both occupied.
Nagi glances down at herself. In her right hand, she's still clutching her shopping bag, and in her left, she's holding the kitchen knife I bequeathed her.
I guess I'll have to do it later when we both get back inside. How does that sound?
Sounds great. I look forward to your head pats, and to your cooking. I bet it'll be delicious. To both. The head pats and the cooking.
Well, of course. I'm going to cook up a storm. It'll be a celebratory feast of sorts because from now on we're going to stay together forever and ever. Do you like the sound of that, Ayumu?
Only half an hour earlier I would have cringed at the thought. That's why I tried to escape from Nagi in the first place. I didn't want to stay with her for more than a few minutes, let alone for eternity. I was mistaken, though. Why did I take against Nagi so much? She hasn't done anything to hurt me. In fact, it's quite the contrary. She has only ever tried to look after me. She really does have my best interests at heart. It's with a smile, therefore, that I say without so much as a trace of irony. Yeah, I think I do. I like the sound of that a lot.
Good. Let's go back then. It's been a busy night and you need your rest. You can lean on me if you want. Don't worry about anything else. I'm going to take really, really good care of you. Until the world burns away around us and everything disappears for good.
Don't take anything. I think I'd be better off going outdoors empty-handed. I wouldn't want to risk upsetting Nagi should she see me with a weapon, and in any case, I don't think of why I might need one. I can't think. Why would Nagi want to hurt me? She's supposed to be my girlfriend. If I do see her, I'd like to think I'd be able to talk things through with her. What would I do with a pair of scissors anyway, much less a knife? I'm not a violent person. I feel faint at the sight of blood. It's not like I can fight her off anyway, even if I wanted to. There's nothing I can do but surrender, nothing I can say except, "Alright, I won't try to escape again, I promise."
Oh, Ayumu.
Nagi sighs at that, almost breathlessly, her violet eyes filling as she speaks with emotion.
Does that mean you're gonna stay with me?
Yes, that's right. I'll stay with you.
Forever?
If you want, I'll always be by your side. I promise.
Oh, Ayumu.
Nagi bends down. She's still straddling me, her thighs either side of my chest, and her fingers are still wound about my throat. Now, however, her attempted strangulation seems almost like a gesture of affection. Her fair hair coils against my cheek. It brushes my skin. Her lips purse, and softly she says,
I'm so happy to hear you say that. I'll take really good care of you, so please don't worry. You'll never have to feel like a failure ever again. I'll never make you feel scared or sad. Pour everything into me.
Nagi's fingers tighten around my throat.
And let it all go.
My vision, which was already blurry, starts to skew. The world is running like it's being viewed through a damp, watery window pane. My head is aching.
My whole body hurts, but I can forget that when I'm with Nagi. She shifts atop me. She leans in even more closely, her lips pursed. Then she kisses me. Her lips impress themselves upon mine even gentler than falling snow as her fingers continue to form a ring around my neck. My eyelids begin to fall shut bit by bit. And with one last sigh, I finally surrender myself to Nagi. I let her love consume me. My mind seems to enlarge, it expands, then it collapses. My body gives one last fitful jerk. Ayumu, oh god, Ayumu! And then everything goes black. I think this might be the last one for the Everything is Bad branch. Stay and wait. I think after giving it a bit of thought that I'd be better off staying here after all. Why should I bother leaving, really, when I have Nagi? I'm starting to doubt whether she really is my girlfriend. Why would anybody be interested in me? I'm butt-ass ugly. But she doesn't seem to have any doubts on the subject. She seems very convinced that she's my girlfriend, and who am I to tell her otherwise? I promised that I would stay here, and I don't want to hurt her. What would be the point in that? It doesn't matter if this is a dream. Nagi has been far kinder to me than any real girls I know. I've only known her a day, but she's given me so much love. I'm already drowning in it. I'm sinking, but I'm not yet at the bottom of this ocean. Perhaps there is no bottom. Perhaps love has no limits. I wouldn't know. I've never been loved before. But I think I want to try it. I want to know what it feels like to be adored, so I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to stay right here. Nagi will return in due course with all of her shopping, just like she promised she would, and then she'll set about making dinner. I'm sure based on her rice pours that it'll be something simple and nutritious. Nutritious! Perhaps some sort of cream-based stew. The scent of Nagi's cooking will fill the kitchen, blotting out the faint underlying musk of mold that's been irritating my nostrils throughout the day. Then she'll call me into the kitchen and we'll eat together at the table. We'll talk to one another about nothing in particular while our spoons scrape against our bowls in a discordant symphony. Perhaps I'll get some food on my lower lip. Perhaps Nagi will laugh at me, though not unkindly, not like my classmates did back in school, and wipe it away from me. Perhaps she'll kiss it away. I'm sure she would if I asked. I'm sure she'd do anything for me. She loves me after all, and I love her. She's too perfect not to. I don't know what happiness is, really. But if I stay with Nagi, I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out. You are special to me. You're plenty special, I'm sure. I just feel a little mixed up now is all. My head is killing me. Well, so long as you're sorry. It's to be expected, I guess, that you'd be a little confused since you have such a high fever.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. If this porridge tastes as good as it looks, it should be delicious. Thank you, Nagi. I smile at my girlfriend, then pick up my spoon. This looks great. I can't wait to dig in. Yes. It is very popular. It was tough going in the beginning, certainly, but Crimson Fantasia is rather successful now. I can admit, however, that in the early days of its publication, it had barely any readers. I always told myself that I was writing for nobody's sake but my own, but it was difficult to keep my morale up during those days. My dreams of becoming a professionally published light novel author, just like Tsuchimi Ryu, were beginning to look depressingly unobtainable, but she was always there. Nai. No, it's alright. I've already slept. Wait, what? Sorry. I clicked the wrong one. Nai. For reals this time. Alright then. You know best. I don't want to make you worry, so. I yawn and lie down in bed as obedient as a small child. I'll do what you say. It'd be rude of me not to listen to my nurse.
Yes, that's right. Bad patients with black hearts disobey their nurses, but I know you're not a bad patient. You've always been very sweet, that's why I like you so much, hee.
Now, that's interesting. I smile at Nagi, though vaguely, through eyelids which are already starting to fall shut. I thought you said you were my nurse.
I am your nurse. I'm nursing you after all. What else would I be?
Well, there's the thing. I yawn. I hadn't realized it until I lay my head on my pillow and discovered how soft it was. But I really am tired. I thought you were also my girlfriend.
I'm that too. I can be both, can't I?
Isn't that a bit unprofessional of you?
It is?
Well, duh. Nurses aren't supposed to date their patients. I'm sure they have to sign some sort of waiver. You might get in trouble if news of our sordid affair comes to light.
Oh, you. There's nothing sordid about me being in love with you. My feelings are very pure.
You can say that to me till the cows come home, but it's your supervisor you'll have to convince, and probably a court of law, too.
Would I get sent to prison for falling for you?
I don't know, maybe. Maybe it depends how sick I am.
Well, that's not fair. I hadn't considered that. Seems awfully cruel that the world would conspire to keep us apart. So, you just need to stay here, Ayumu, with me for all eternity. That way, nobody will say I'm flaunting the law, and I'll never have to lose my medical license, and I'll never have to lose you. I can keep on loving you and looking after you forever and ever. How does that sound?
That might not be such a bad deal, actually.
You think so?
Nagi titters.
I'm glad to hear it. If that's what you want, then that's what you'll get. Your cute Nurse Nagi will be on the clock 24/7, so you've got nothing to worry about. Just go to sleep, rest your weary head. I'll be here for you. And I'll never ever leave you.
Nagi's voice is so softly hypnotic. I can't fight against it. She has me in her thrall. My eyelids, which were already drooping, fall shut. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, I fall into a deep, dreamless sleep. I think I can hear somebody calling out to me, albeit vaguely.
Ayumu?
But their voice is so distant, it might as well be emanating from another planet. I don't need anybody else but Nagi. I don't want anybody else but Nagi. I just want to fall asleep. And I never ever want to wake up. It's a bit embarrassing. As much as I appreciate Nagi's kindness, I'm not used to being complimented like that, not to my face at least. It's making me feel decidedly flushed. I can feel my cheeks turning red and my head is starting to ache again. All of a sudden I feel disoriented. Am I alright?
Ayumu?
Give phone. I'm still curious about who's trying to call me, but I don't think I want to risk upsetting Nagi. She's been doing her best to take care of me, like she said. Ignoring her wishes now wouldn't be a very nice way to repay her. And I reason with myself, I can always call this person back later if they want to tell me something important. That's what voicemails are for. For the moment, however, I'd probably be better off without any external distractions. I'm too tired to deal with the world. Oh, sure thing. I fish my phone out of my pocket at long last and hand it to Nagi without complaint, without pausing to check even who bothered calling in the first place. It's not like I need to know the identity of my mysterious caller right this instant. It can wait. I'm too tired in any case to worry about it too much. I'm not really in the mood to talk.
Thank you, Yumu. I knew you'd do the right thing, hehe. You're a very sensible boy.
A giggling Nagi accepts my phone from me, then switches it off. She, like me, doesn't bother to look at who the caller is. Maybe it doesn't matter. Am I thinking about this too much?
I'll look after this for you, so you don't need to think about it.
Nagi pockets my phone for herself, then resumes her position in the chair at my bedside, shifting among the cushions to make herself more comfortable.
Now, are you gonna go back to sleep? You look a little peaky.
I feel pretty peaky. I yawn. So tired.
I thought you were drifting off earlier, yeah. It's a shame that somebody chose now of all times to call you. People can be so inconsiderate. Don't they know that you're sick?
Well, now that you mention it, I frown. Probably not, no. I haven't spoken to anybody all day other than you, unless you told them for me.
I did, yes. I called up your university on your behalf, Ayumu. And your friends. They should all know that you're down for the count. You won't get in any trouble.
Right. That's a relief. I'm glad that Nagi's so sensible. If I was on my own, I probably wouldn't think to call my university to tell them about my absence. I'd just refuse to show up. It wouldn't be the first time I've missed out on my lectures. In fact, come to think of it, when was the last time I went to a lecture? I tried to remember, but... Ugh. A sharp pain pierces my skull. It feels like I'd been skewered. White-hot pain flashes momentarily behind my eyes and everything blurs. I'm so overcome I have to squeeze my eyelids shut. I breathe in slowly, then breathe out. I do this 10 times until the pain subsides. When I open my eyes at long last, I see Nagi. Her face is creased with worry and she's frowning.
Oh dear, it looks like you're still very poorly. You don't need more ibuprofen, do you?
It wouldn't be too bad, actually.
Alright, I'll go get some for you and a glass of water too. That should help you wash it down. I won't be a minute.
Nagi gets to her feet, abandoning her strange shapeless thing on the floor, and bustles off to the kitchen. I don't tell her where I keep my medicine or where I keep my cups, but I don't suppose I need to. I'm sure she's stopped by my place numerous times in the past, being my girlfriend and everything. She'll be fine on her own. Some time passes, I don't know how much, which I spend staring at the ceiling, picking out shapes in the paint. The seconds trickle by, and then...
Alright, Nurse Nagi's back on the scene.
Nagi approaches me, her footsteps soft and muffled like a cat in her indoor slippers.
In one hand, she's holding a glass of water, and in the other, she has a couple of white featureless tablets. Nagi drops the tablets in my awaiting palm, and I pop them into my mouth. They taste a little chalky, but they don't have any particular flavor otherwise. They're blandly inoffensive. I wash these tablets down with the glass of water Nagi brought to me, then lie back down in bed. I feel bone tired now. There's nothing I want more than to sleep. You poor thing. Gently, very gently, Nagi presses her palm against my forehead, which feels fevered and gives my hair a ruffle. You really have been through the wars, Ayumu. Don't worry, though. I'm not going anywhere. You can count on me. The sweet cadence of Nagi's voice coupled with the soothing touch of her hand is a comfort. It soothes the residual aches inside my head, the aches that the ibuprofen couldn't quite manage to iron out. Nagi's palm is nice and cool. I guess that's because she was carrying that glass of cold water from the kitchen. It helps dispense the feverish haze that's settled about me. Her hand continues to stroke me over and over as a mother might a small child. I feel like I've regressed. I'm becoming younger, feebler, needier. I don't want to become too dependent on her. There. But this really does feel good. With half-lidded eyes, I look up at my girlfriend, my goddess, and mumble, "Promise you won't leave me?" I promise. Why would I? I do love you, you know. That will never change, Nagi. I exhale. I can still feel her head against her head against my head. My skin is flushed with sweat, and I doubt it's very pleasant to touch, but Nagi doesn't draw away from me. She said she would stay with me. She promised. And I'd like to think that I can at least believe her. I let my eyelids fall shut, soothed by Nagi's words of undying, eternal affection. And quickly, sleep rushes forwards to meet me, a sleep so deep and I'm pulled under within seconds. A faint voice reaches me through the darkened abyss. But it doesn't sound like Nagi's. I guess it can't be that important then. I tune it out. I ignore everything. I let myself sink further still, all the way to the bottom of a dark, dense swamp. She must really love me. I guess she must love me an awful lot. Maybe I ought to trust her more. I feel a little lonely. A little lonely. My apartment feels very dull and drab without Nagi to brighten things up, and it's a bit chilly too. I guess I've gotten used to having Nagi around. Her company was nice enough for the most part, but I still don't have any memories of her. That being the case, can I really trust her? What should I do now? Oh, what? Oh. Okay, so like, after you say that you're lonely, that becomes like an instant, just, why should I leave? Okay, so, I guess because we don't have enough unease at this point, he's just like, well, I'll just stay here. We had quite a bit of endings. Or at least some of them would technically be game overs in a normal sense. But if we were to look at all of the sort of different stuff, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have about like 11 endings for this. So the very first one we had is basically the good ending where we finally wake up, and that's what when you open the game, after you get that, the only option you have is wake up, and when you hit it, it closes the game. So I had to go into the save files and delete that so I can get all of the other stuff. Fortunately, it was very easy to deal with. Otherwise, I would have had to like delete everything, which would have been annoying because I was just like, why would they give me the ability to reload and a skip function? Especially because it's pretty easy to figure out how you want to do this. But luckily everything was saved and I could skip through. Because with some visual novels, one of the biggest issues is not being able to skip dialogue you've already seen. The Letter also had this issue, which is a big no-no. Because there are multiple branches and there are overlapping areas where the dialogue is the same, but because it's a different branch, the game didn't consider it looking at the same dialogue. So you had to go through it again, which is super annoying. And that was one of the reasons why I got so tired of that game. So yeah, Girlfriend Simulator, I really liked it. It pretty much
satisfy the part of me that played that one other, like, that one was like a boyfriend simulator. That one was super short. It was part of the, where is it? It was part of my video titled Filth, Boyfriends, and Dream Sims. And that one was super short. And I was like, no, please come back. This one satisfies it. Even if this one is sad. It works well with who he is as a person because he's a creative. He authors stuff. I'm just surprised that there wasn't like conflicting memories. Especially because he's absolutely like fantasized Nagi before. So I'm surprised there wasn't confliction in like false memories mixed with what it really is, because it could have been like, oh, I'm living this happy life and I can remember bits and pieces of like what we did, like we've been on dates before and all that stuff. But then he starts grasping like, no, wait, my reality was that like my life was utter shit. My house was like this. There's no way that somebody would do this. And when he's like, if he thought back a little harder on some of these other memories, these false memories, it'd be like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. I've never had friends. But overall, since this is part of the Spooktember 4th annual visual novel jam, so keeping it the way it is, keeping it so that it isn't super intricate to fit the span of time that they need to make this and how short the game is supposed to be, it's good. And when I went in to check it again, somebody said that some parts dragged out, but I think it was fine. The pacing was fine, especially because we're trying to be convinced a little bit, but like, you know, if you're me and you decide to choose all of the I don't trust you answers right from the get-go, because I think in something longer, like if this was a bigger game, we'd need options that weren't so like obvious, because for this one it's just a straight path to I don't trust you, I don't believe you, I'm getting out of here, don't touch me. Yeah, so that's really all I have to talk about. I really enjoy this. I always have fun with these types of games where it's not just a straight like romance novel. It got that horror theme in it. I also have a few other ones in this. I don't think it's this game jam specifically, but it's of a basically similar genre of you know, significant other simulator. I wrote down her birthday and it didn't even matter. Oh no! I accidentally cut through the paper. It's okay. I didn't mark anything. I apologize for playing with my pen the entire time. When I recorded the true end, my pen was open and I got ink all over my hands. I was like, oh god. And I knew I shouldn't have been playing with my pen again, but I couldn't help it because I was like waiting to have to write something down or checkmark stuff. Needed a little fidget spinner, but then you'd hear it clicking. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.
I hope that you're a very good boy or a very good girl every day and every night. Bye-bye.